Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, everyone. Awakening the SSS-Level Dragon Master at the beginning. Chapter 51. In the invigilation room, all the principals were talking about the candidates with higher rankings on the ranking list. Principal Wen, you Shenqing are very lucky this time. You have recruited 2 candidates for SSS-level occupations. Currently, one is ranked 3rd and the other is ranked 4th. I think Longjing recruits better candidates. There are also 2 SSS-level professions. Although one is only ranked in the dozen or so, the second-place Zhang Feng also signed up for Longjing. Yes, if Lin Tian is unable to succeed, Zhang Feng may become the number 1. But those 2 candidates from Shenqing may not be able to overtake Zhang Feng. Ha ha ha, how do you know that Lin Tian can't maintain his current momentum and win first place all the way? If this kind of thing really happens, then Longwu will probably be the luckiest this year. Whether Lin Tian is ranked 1st in the end or not, if Longwu can recruit him, he is lucky and has made a big mistake. Everyone nodded after hearing this. Longwu was indeed lucky this time and missed a good prospect like Lin Tian. If things hadn't happened for a reason, Longwu might never have had the chance to recruit such a genuine SSS-level profession. Everyone was chatting. At this time, a voice came from outside the invigilator room. What kind of luck did I, Longwu, get? What big mistake did I pick up? A middle-aged man walked into the invigilation room and continued. I heard you say from afar that I, Longwu, was lucky enough to miss something. Everyone looked at the middle-aged man. I saw that the middle-aged man was wearing a camouflage combat uniform, which was still stained with splotches of blood that had not yet dried up, exuding a faint smell of blood. This belated middle-aged man is Lu Jiaoshang, the president of Longguo Martial Arts University. Lao Lu, why are you here so late? Are you on a mission again? Lu Jiaoshang smiled bitterly and said, the maritime border in the Kimchi country was not very stable a few days ago. Didn't I follow along to deal with it? When I came back, I encountered an unusual large-scale attack by marine beasts, so I came back late. Everyone around them nodded, expressing their understanding. As the principal of Longwu, Lu Jiaoshang is one of the few principals among major university principals who is often on assignment. But this is not surprising. Longwu's philosophy is to put actual combat first. Although the school is in decline now, no one dares to look down upon the students from Longwu. As the principal of Longwu, Lu Jiaoshang's strength is even higher than that of all the principals present. Only Wen Qingliu from Shenqing and Zhu Daodan from Longjing could compare with him in strength. Therefore, it often becomes a frequent visitor to the military when they are on missions. By the way, you said that I, Longwu, am lucky. What kind of luck do you have? Lu Jiaoshang asked. Everyone looked at him with strange eyes. Then, he pointed at the ranking list on the light screen. See for yourself. Lu Jiaoshang looked in the direction of everyone's fingers. I saw that it was the candidate who was temporarily ranked 1st on the ranking list. Lin Tian, SSS-level Professional Dragon Master. Level 21. Apply to the Dragon Kingdom Martial Arts University. Lu Jiaoshang became more and more frightened as he watched. Whether it was the profession of Dragon Master or the level 21, he was surprised. The two together were even more shocking. Until he saw that the institution this candidate applied for was the Longguo Martial Arts University. Only then did he know what everyone meant by getting lucky and picking up big mistakes. Lu Jiaoshang felt ecstatic in his heart. I didn't expect that I, Longwu, would have a chance to recruit an SSS-level profession. Ha ha ha, it seems that this is an opportunity for me, Longwu, to rise again. It's still number 1 in the trial tower rankings, so good. It's so good. Lu Jiaoshang praised him several times in a row. However, he was also a little confused and asked everyone. Why didn't Lin Tian from our school apply for Shenqing or Longjing? Is it because he didn't like it? Lu Jiaoshang has identified Lin Tian as Longwu's student. In fact, this is indeed the case. Even if Lin Tian quits the trial tower immediately, his results are still enough to enter Longwu. Aside, everyone laughed happily when they heard Lu Jiaoshang's question. Zhu Daodan from Longjing looked ugly. The expression on Shenqing Wen Qingliu's face was even more ugly. The duck that was originally obtained just flew into Lu Jiaoshang's hands. He also had to be ridiculed by Lu Jiaoshang like this, even though this was not his intention. After everyone explained to Lu Jiaoshang was even more ecstatic. He directly said to Wen Qingliu and Zhu Daodan, "Then I really want to thank the two principals. The two principals understand the righteousness, recruit students with SSS-level vocational professions, and also give us ordinary colleges and universities a chance to drink." If the inquiry just now was unintentional, then his words were definitely naked ridicule. Wen Qingliu and Zhu Daodan both looked ugly, but they were too angry to refute. After all, Lin Tian was indeed given up by them. Soon, Lu Jiaoshang found Long Wu's admissions officer in Zhongcheng, Zhou Yimin, and praised him profusely. Wen Qingliu and Zhu Daodan felt extremely uncomfortable hearing this. On the surface, he is praising his subordinates, and anyone with a discerning eye can see that this is giving them eye candy. The principals of many surrounding colleges and universities are also happy to see this. Shenqing and Longjing are the two top universities in the Dragon Kingdom. The resources that can be obtained every year are far more than other colleges and universities. With more resources and fame, the two institutions can recruit more potential students. It can be said that over the years, almost all SS-level and SSS-level professions have been recommended to these two universities, and they have taken all the jobs. Now, with great difficulty, an SSS-level profession has reached Longwu. Lu Jiaoshang applied eye drops to the two of them. It can be regarded as giving vent to the anger that has been pent up for many years by all the principals. Zhou Yimin was dumbfounded by the praise and had not yet figured out what happened. When he accidentally saw the ranking list on the light screen, he realized what the principal was praising him for. The name at the top of the list is Lin Tian. Zhou Yimin was stunned instantly. He originally thought that Lin Tian was unlucky and would lose the opportunity to become famous nationwide if he entered this special national exam. But now it seems that even there are competitors for other SS-level and SSS-level professions. Lin Tian is still the strongest one. This far exceeded his expectations. Wen Qingliu and Zhu Daodan couldn't bear the squeeze from Lu Jiaoshang. Don't be complacent. Although Lin Tian is temporarily in the lead, the results of the trial tower are not based on speed, but only on the final number of floors. Lin Tian has begun to slow down now, but Zhang Feng from our school is still playing steadily. Zhu Daodan also added, "Yes, being ahead temporarily does not mean that you can always lead. As long as it is not over, no one can say who will be first in the end. The two SSS-level professionals in our school are also in third place. The gap between the four and Zhang Feng is not big, so there is no chance of being first." The two of them had just finished speaking. Before Lu Jiaoshang could open his mouth to refute, I heard someone shout in surprise. Lin Tian's speed has recovered again. He will be faster this time. Upon hearing this exclamation, all the education department bosses and principals of various schools turned to look at the trial tower rankings on the light screen. Everyone looked in disbelief. Everyone only saw Lin Tian, who was originally ranked first. After slowing down for a while, the speed of passing the level did not become slower, but instead became faster. Lin Tian passed the test so fast that everyone was horrified. They couldn't see what was going on in the trial tower. Only the layers of the trial tower behind Lin Tian's name can be seen, which are constantly being refreshed. Every few seconds, it will refresh. This kind of terrifying passing speed is unheard of even for the experienced bosses who have participated in countless national exams and can be said to be well informed. Lin Tian. How did he do it? A trembling voice asked. Everyone present was silent. They also want to know the answer to this question. For the first time, I thought Lin Tian was sprinting with all his strength, but he was slapped in the face. Lin Tian was just passing through the level at an ordinary speed. Just now they thought for the second time that Lin Tian finally showed his true strength. But now I'm slapped in the face again. They couldn't imagine how a level 21 Lin Tian could pass the test at such a speed. Even the man who once set the record for the 79th floor of the National Examination Tower, his speed in breaking through the level was a huge difference compared to Lin Tian. A familiar voice broke the silence. "Do you think Lin Tian really has a dragon?" came the weak voice. It was Principal Zhang who had made this statement before. The last time he raised this conjecture, everyone burst into laughter. This time, everyone did not laugh at him, but remained silent. Not everyone believed this statement. Having a dragon is nonsense. But it doesn't matter if Lin Tian doesn't have a dragon. The strength he has shown has surpassed all the candidates. To everyone, it didn't matter whether Lin Tian had a dragon or not. The important thing is that Lin Tian, the Dragon Master, is about to win the first place in the national exam for the first time in history. So what if there were no dragons? The strength he showed still far exceeded and even crushed all the candidates this year. At least the target of the trial tower test, Lin Tian's four-dimensional attributes and skill panel strength in all aspects are indeed difficult for others to match. Otherwise, it would be impossible to have such a terrifying clearance speed. While everyone was calming down their minds, less than 2 minutes to go. On the ranking list, Lin Tian's trial tower has reached the 75th floor. There are only the last 4 floors left to reach the trial tower record for the national exam. As long as Lin Tian successfully passes the 4th floor, he can tie the record. And if he can go one step further and pass the 80th level, he will create a new history in the national exam. No one doubted that Lin Tian could do it. By now, even the 2 principals, Wen Qingliu and Zhu Daodan, have lost interest in competing. No matter which side they were on, it was already clear. It is impossible for their 2 SSS-level professional candidates to compete with Lin Tian for the first place in this year's national exam. Even Zhang Feng, who is ranked second, is far behind Lin Tian. Like everyone else, the 2 of them looked at Lu Jiaoshang unconsciously, their eyes full of envy and jealousy. The first candidate this year is still the first by a cliff. He even ranked first in a major exam with unprecedented fierce competition. The gold content of this first place is really terrifying. It can be said that in this big exam, the top few stood out in the end. If you were to take any major exam, you would easily win first place and become famous all over the country. But when they gathered for this year's major exam, it should have been a scene of competition among the best. In the end, it was Lin Tian who took the lead. The other top candidates, who were also among the best, seemed somewhat insignificant in front of him. Wen Qingliu and Zhu Daodan each looked at the person in charge of admissions. Both of them looked like they wanted to kill someone. Lin Tian, who could have been recruited, missed out because of this reason. It really made their hearts bleed. Lin Tian's strength has made everyone lose their focus on chasing after the top few. All eyes are focused on the first name on the leaderboard. They just want to know one thing now. How many floors can Lin Tian reach? In the trial tower, a terrifying giant dragon was flying. If the space in the trial tower wasn't large enough, he wouldn't even be able to extend his wings. The giant dragon is obviously Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan breathed out a mouthful of flames and easily defeated the opponent in front of him. This simulated alien beast is already the target on the 79th floor. The level has also reached level 59. Lin Tian had only fought against level 50 beasts in the wild. But level 59 doesn't make much difference to Xiao Yan. But it's different at level 60. Lin Tian looked at the steps leading to the next level. The next level was the 80th floor of the trial tower. As long as he passed the next level, he would set a new record for the trial tower in the national exam. Although he doesn't know the situation in the outside world. But he was certain that he had definitely achieved his goal. The big guys who are paying attention to this big exam now have their eyes focused on him. Lin Tian went to the 80th floor. He knew that the strange beasts on this level would not be so easy to deal with. After the 50th level, even though each level is reached, the level of the alien beast increases by 1 level. But the increase in difficulty is not so linear. Every 10 levels of the trial tower, the alien beasts will become more difficult to deal with. And level 80 is a qualitative change. The reason is naturally very simple. The level 60 beast has reached level 4. There is only 1 level difference in level, but the difference in strength between level 4 and level 3 can be said to be worlds apart. Obviously, the SSS-level professional who set a record last time fell to the 4th level alien beast on the 80th floor. Just because the former will fail does not mean that he will also fail. Lin Tian walked into the 80th floor without any hesitation. In the proctoring room, everyone's eyes were staring at the light curtain expectantly. Of course they were looking at Lin Tian's name. The number of floors after Lin Tian's name has become the 79th floor, which means that Lin Tian has passed the 79th floor and tied the previous record. Now the layers behind Lin Tian's name have stayed for a while. This means that he is fighting on the 80th floor of the trial tower. Everyone is waiting for Lin Tian to fail. Or success. After a while, in the expectant eyes of everyone, the number behind Lin Tian's name flashed. He succeeded. Lin Tianjun really succeeded. Lin Tian set a new record. Longwu's admissions director Zhou Yimin directly exclaimed. He originally had no qualifications to stay here, but now that he had this opportunity and even witnessed history, he was naturally excited. Hiss. All the big guys present also let out gasps. There was endless discussion. Since Lin Tian can pass the 80th one, he will not stop there. Lin Tian created new history. This caused a discussion in the invigilation room. Everyone knows that Lin Tian can defeat level 60 and 4th level alien beasts. It is impossible that he can only defeat such alien beasts. He will definitely move forward again. The reality was as they expected. After a while, the number behind Lin Tian's name on the ranking list flashed again, and he passed the 81st floor. Everyone was aroused by Lin Tian's creation of history. Before they had time to calm down, new curiosity arose. How many levels can Lin Tian reach? After everyone thought for a moment, they each gave their answers. I think he can defeat the level 64th level alien beast. Although it took some time, he doesn't look like he is fighting for his life, so I think he can at least reach 10 more levels. I think it's about the same, around the 90th floor. No, I think Lin Tian can reach at least the 99th floor. I think so too. In addition to the alien beasts that have reached level 80 and level 5 in the last layer, the problem of how long it takes for the alien beasts in front of him is solved. People's opinions are divided into two types. The former believes that Lin Tian's limit is around the 90th floor of the trial tower. The latter believes that Lin Tian's limit is more than that. He can reach all the way to the 99th floor before finally being defeated on the 100th floor. But no matter which one it is, it's scary enough for everyone. The SSS-level professionals who last set a record of level 79 are undoubtedly the strongest among professionals at the same level. But even so, he still fell on the 80th floor. The reason is that the level of the alien beast has reached level 60 and the 4th level. Every turn a professional takes is a chasm, and the more you go to the back, the more so. It is extremely difficult for these novice professionals to defeat level 60, 4th level beasts. Failure to do so is not a dishonor, it is a matter of course. Those who can do it can only be said to be geniuses among geniuses and monsters among monsters. Everyone's eyes are focused on Lin Tianji's name on the ranking list. Lin Tian's speed in passing the test was far less fast than before. But still rising, slowly but surely. Lin Tian's presence made the big bosses no longer have time to pay attention to other people's situations. At this time, many candidates have reached their limit, ended the trial, and returned to the examination room space. In the examination room space, there is a light curtain in every area of the battle city. Although there is no candidate information on the light screen, it still displays the ranking list of the trial tower, the battle city to which it belongs, a name and a number. Candidates who have withdrawn from the trial are all paying attention to the situation on the ranking list. Most of them find their names on the leaderboards. However, only the top 1,000 are on the list. Most people are destined to never find themselves. All the candidates started talking with the surrounding classmates. Holy, why are there all levels over 50 in the rankings? At least they are over 40. Did they cheat on the special code? That's right, novice professionals are only a dozen levels at most. After the 40th floor of the trial tower, there are alien beasts above level 25. How can they defeat them? Haha, you are just frogs in the well. That's right, it doesn't matter what level of profession you are, what level or others. You are a D level and C level professional. Of course you cannot understand the combat power of other A level and S level professions. This year's exams are not the only one. There are SS level and even SSS level professionals joining this year. The top few should be at these two levels, right? Everyone was talking and looking at the top of the rankings. The third place is probably Lu Zongji from the capital. There is also the second place, Zhang Feng from Magic City, for sure too. I think the fourth place, He Lianfei, who is also from the capital, should be the same. That's right, the progress of these three people is about the same. They are all in the 60s and above. They should all be SSS-level professionals. There is a gap between the 5th place and the top 4. It should be an SS-level profession. Everyone's eyes finally turned to the first name on the ranking list. Lin Tian from Zhongcheng. The number of layers is impressively 85. What's going on with this Lin Tian? How could there be someone on the 85th floor? The highest record of the trial tower in previous major exams was only 79 floors. Is he actually the only one who is SSS level? Everyone else is only SS level. Impossible. At least the top 5. Otherwise it would be impossible to enter the 60-plus floors at this time. Why is this Lin Tian so far ahead? He even set a new record. He is from Zhongcheng. Where is Zhongcheng? Candidates from all over the country were stunned by the number of layers following the name Lin Tian. If not, the people around also saw it. They may even wonder if they saw it wrong. This year is the most special exam. It can be said to be a gathering of heroes. And this Lin Tian can actually lead by a cliff. What is his background? He actually came from a small town that was unheard of. At this time, there has already been a sensation in the area of Zhongcheng candidates. When they saw Lin Tian, who came in first place, from Zhongcheng, everyone burst into cheers. Cheers for Lin Tian to create history. Of course they didn't know Lin Tian. But Zhongcheng has never ranked first in the college entrance examination. Now Lin Tian, as a candidate in Zhongcheng, has come out on top in the college entrance examination. They naturally feel inexplicably proud. This is the first time that Zhongcheng has been so famous. Many Zhongcheng candidates began to look for Lin Tian's school. There were only so many schools in Zhongcheng, and they soon found number 3 middle school. When the classmates who entered the examination room with Lin Tian were questioned by everyone, they all felt a little confused. Still wondering if they have the same name. But as Lin Tian's experience was told, everyone believed that Lin Tian, who was number 1 in the rankings at the moment, was definitely Lin Tian from number 3 middle school. Whether it is occupying the first place for 3 years or awakening an SSS level profession, it is so convincing. Although everyone in Zhongcheng didn't know how the Dragon Master did this. But what the hell, it's enough that Lin Tian is number 1. It's enough that Lin Tian comes from Zhongcheng. Over time, more and more candidates ended the trial and were teleported out one by one. To the end, only those at the top are still struggling to advance in the trial tower. Yang Qi also reached the limit and ended the trial. He only passed the 57th floor before reaching his limit. He was defeated by the alien beast on the 58th floor and was subsequently teleported out. As soon as Yang Qi was sent out, he was surrounded by people asking questions, all asking questions related to Lin Tian. He immediately thought of what had happened. Turn around and look at the leaderboard. Really? First place Lin Tian. This Lin Tian is from Zhongcheng. Who else could he be? Of course he is Yang Qi's good brother. Yang Qi was ecstatic in his heart. What if this year's exam was reformed and so many SS level and SSS level professionals were added? Why didn't Lin Tian win the first place? Oh, you don't know that my brother Tian has been gifted since he was a child. When he was 8 years old, Yang Qi, surrounded by Zhongcheng candidates, began to talk. Although he didn't know Lin Tian at all when he was 8 years old, this did not affect his vivid narration. In the trial tower, those at the top are still hanging on. Zhang Feng, Lu Zhanji, and He Lianfei all persisted in breaking the record. But time passed by. They were also pushed to their limits. In the end, some of the 3 succeeded in breaking through the 80th floor, while others failed. But regardless of success or failure, the 3 of them all believe that they are good enough to be number 1. The 3 people's front and rear legs were teleported out. They immediately looked at the trial tower rankings. Zhang Feng tried his best to break through the 80th floor, but he also reached his limit. On the 81st floor, he tried his best and finally passed successfully. Finally, when he reached the 82nd floor, he was completely at his wit's end and was defeated by the alien beast, ending the trial. He had some knowledge of the situation in the trial tower. But because he was a walk before, I don't know much about him. After actual experience, he found that the trial tower was more difficult than he expected. As an SSS level professional, he thinks he is no weaker than anyone else. He had also heard about the previous records of the trial tower. It is also a 79-level record set by an SSS-level professional. After he awakened the SSS-level profession, he inexplicably gained a sense of confidence. He thought he was much better than that person. Not to mention clearing the trial tower, he could at least reach around the 90th floor. Now this result did not surprise him. Zhang Feng only felt that he was still too confident. It's good that he is an SSS-level professional, but so is the person who set the previous record. Judging from the results of the trial tower, he is a little stronger than that person, but his strength is limited. It seems that he just had better luck and awakened an SSS-level profession. Others may not be much different from him. Zhang Feng did not have useless self-esteem, but adjusted his mentality in a timely manner. But he was not discouraged. The result was a little worse than he expected. But it's enough. Since he felt that it was very difficult, others must have felt the same way. His actual results were much worse than expected, and others could not escape. What's more, he still set a new record. Past the 81st floor. In Zhang Feng's view, this score was enough for him to take first place in the national exam. Zhang Feng, who was defeated by the alien beast on the 82nd floor, was also transported back to the examination room space with a white light. Zhang Feng's thoughts were not his alone. Lu Zhongji and He Lianfei, both SSS-level professionals, also had the same idea as Zhang Feng. After both of them passed the 80th floor, they were defeated by the alien beasts on the next level, one level less than Zhang Feng. The three of them were teleported to the examination room space. They immediately looked at the ranking list on the light screen. Third place, Jingcheng, He Lianfei, final score is 80th floor. Third place, Jingcheng, Lu Zhongji, final score is 80th floor. Lu Zhongji and He Lianfei's pupils shrank when they saw their names on the ranking list. They didn't expect that even though they set a new record, they didn't even get first place. But because the two finally passed the same number of floors, they were tied. What they didn't expect was that their tied ranking was not even second, but third. See this scene. Both of them knew that they had underestimated the competitive intensity of this major exam. Both of them were a little dissatisfied. With such a high level of difficulty, could anyone still break through the 80th floor? You must know that they are already SSS-level professionals. The level has even reached level 18. Even so, he couldn't win first place. This also made the two of them a little more curious. What kind of person did they lose to? The two people continued to look upward. Second place, Modu, Zhang Feng, final score is level 81. At this time, Zhang Feng's eyes also solidified. Lu Zhongji and He Lianfei both lost to him by only one level. This allowed him to see that he was not the only proud person in the world. In fact, as long as he made a few more mistakes in the end, his results would be the same as the two. The difference between everyone may be only a few millimeters. What made him even more sluggish was the bright 3 characters, second place, in front of his name. As an SSS-level professional, he has reached level 19, which is extremely terrifying for candidates. On the basis of the original trial tower record, it broke through 2 levels in a row. Haven't won the first place yet. Zhang Feng, like Lu Zhongji and He Lianfei, had a question in his mind. Who is the number 1? The 3 people's eyes climbed up the ranking list. First place, Zhang Cheng and Lin Tian, currently ranked 98th. When the 3 of them saw number 1 on the ranking list. In my heart I am the same as everyone. First a question arose. Where is Zhang Cheng? Then, the 3 of them looked at the results. The 3 of them were immediately shocked. Level 98. How can this be? All 3 of them found it difficult to accept the scene in front of them. They rubbed their eyes vigorously, suspecting that they were hallucinating. If the gap is 1 or 2 levels, the 3 of them will not be there. For example, Zhang Feng is 1 level higher than Lu Zhongji and He Lianfei, which is acceptable to both of them. Zhang Feng had the same idea. Seeing myself second, I was just a little shocked inside. At the same time, I also lamented that there are people outside the world. Even though I reached level 19 as an SSS-level professional, I still lost. But the scene in front of me is more than just trivial. Didn't the 3 of them lose even a little bit? But a huge defeat. Floor 98. This is not on the same level as the 3 of them. Almost 20 levels behind them. What is this concept? The three of them could not imagine that they were already SSS-level professionals. There was no higher profession in the world. Their levels were not low either, and they were only 1 or 2 levels away from the second level. How could someone leave them behind so much? How is it done? The three of them were shocked, and their curiosity and doubts also reached their peak. And this guy named Lin Tian, the name behind his name shows that he is currently at the 98th level. In other words, this Lin Tian has not finished the trial yet. After passing the 98th floor, he is trying to conquer the 99th floor. Crazy. Too crazy. This made the three of them unable to even feel envious and jealous. They are left with only the most basic expectations. Looking forward to this guy named Lin Tian to see if he can create new history. Clear the trial tower. The curiosity in the three people's hearts made them want to find someone to ask. But I turned around and looked. The endless examination room was crowded but silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the light curtain. Everyone couldn't even bear to blink. I am afraid that if I blink, I will miss an important moment. Seeing this scene, the three of them suppressed their curiosity and looked at the ranking list, waiting for the moment when the final results would be announced. This was the time of the major exams in previous years. All candidates have finished the trial tower, and as usual, it is time to prepare for the second half of the test. But now, no one objects. Just because there is still one person in the trial tower today. All the big guys in the invigilation room and the principals of various schools are also paying attention. All of them have extraordinary identities, but the expressions they show now are no different from the candidates from the outside world. Everyone fell into silence, quietly waiting for that moment to arrive. The nervous mood of everyone at this moment was even worse than when they were in the trial tower. Many people's clenched palms were sweating. In the spotlight, the rankings jumped a bit. First place, Zhang Cheng and Lin Tian, currently 99 levels lower. Floor 99. Floor 99. He succeeded. In the trial tower. Lin Tian lay on the ground panting. Xiao Yan beside him also lay on the ground, losing his usual calmness for the first time. There were many scars on Xiao Yan's body. This is the first time since he was born. Moreover, this first injury was not serious, and his combat effectiveness has been reduced. Lin Tian looked at the steps leading to the last floor. He has been forced to use all his strength at this level, and he is not far from the limit. At the last level, he had no confidence. After all, the level of the last level of alien beasts will reach level 80. Level 80 is 5 turns. The strength of the alien beasts has changed qualitatively again. There is no doubt that the boss at the end of the last level is definitely far better than the strange beast he killed just now. Be honest, Lin Tian himself felt that there was no chance of winning. But that doesn't mean he chooses to give up. We have already come here, so what if we lose? Even if he loses, he still wants to see with his own eyes how terrifying a level 80 level 5 beast will be. No hesitation, Lin Tian dragged his heavy body and walked firmly to the last floor. Roar! Xiao Yan roared angrily and responded to Lin Tian's footsteps, spreading his wings and flying towards the last floor. Level 100. A ray of holy light shone down. It fell on Lin Tian and Xiao Yan. Lin Tian clenched his fist and restored his condition every 10 floors of the trial tower. Now he has returned to his peak. Boom, boom, boom. A heavy sound sounded. The bottom boss on the 100th floor also revealed his true form. Lin Tian looked up and seemed to see a hill walking towards him. The figure that covered the sky and the sun shrouded him in shadow. Mountain moving troll. Level 80. Power 3126. Ability 820. Physique 4328. Spirit 31. Troll body passive LV5. The troll's body is naturally strong and immune to 25% damage. Slam active LV7. Smash it with a boulder-like fist, causing damage, and stomp active LV6. Stomp the ground hard with the sole of your foot, causing damage. The panel of the mountain moving troll was displayed in front of Lin Tian. Lin Tian's breathing was immediately stagnant. This terrifying panel was enough to make him despair. With a strength of more than 3,000 and a constitution of more than 4,000, even if the troll's agility is very low and its spirit is pitifully low, combined it still far surpasses Xiao Yan. No way. As a dragon, no matter how terrifying Xiaoyan is, his level is here after all. No matter what, it is impossible to catch up with the level 85th level beast. Although the troll has two shortcomings in agility and spirit, this low spirit of 31 points, placed on such a huge body of the troll, can be said to be no different from being mentally retarded. But it doesn't take much IQ to deal with a level 80 level 5 troll. The panel properties have been crushed. Lin Tian couldn't see any chance of winning. But after all, it's here. Lin Tian observed the troll carefully. If pressed, he has any chance of winning. That means this is a trial tower, not a real wilderness. The alien beasts in the trial tower all have flaws. These simulated alien beasts are just to test the candidates' panel attributes and skills and combat effectiveness. They are all designed to compete head-on with the candidates. At this point, the simulated alien beasts are far less cunning than the real alien beasts in the wilderness. Compared with real exotic beasts, the ability to simulate alien beasts is greatly reduced. Lin Tian knew it very well. Even if you combine all the shortcomings of the mountain-moving troll in front of you, his chances of winning are still slim. Xiaoyan, who was huge in stature, looked inadequate in front of the mountain-moving troll at this moment. Lin Tian was as small as an ant when placed at the feet of the mountain-moving troll. But even so, Lin Tian still doesn't intend to give up. Without making any attempts or efforts, just choose to admit defeat and accept your fate. That's not his style. A set of black armor appeared on Lin Tian's body, and the spear that suddenly appeared in his hand burned with red flames. The mountain-moving troll noticed the little one in front of him. He clenched his fist like a giant rock and slammed it down towards Lin Tian. Feeling Lin Tian's determination, Xiaoyan also ignited his fighting spirit. The dragon's pride did not allow him to bow to anyone except Lin Tian. Roar! A roar pierced the sky. Xiaoyan spread his wings and flew to block Lin Tian's head. The troll punched down, hitting Xiaoyan who was guarding Lin Tian. Xiaoyan's huge body suddenly sank, and his four claws gripped the ground tightly. If it weren't for the trial tower, the ground would collapse. On the panel properties, although there is a huge gap between Xiaoyan and the mountain-moving troll, don't forget that Xiaoyan is a giant dragon. Even with such a huge attribute gap, the mountain-moving troll's punch could not cause much damage to Xiaoyan. Lin Tian was not sure of defeating the mountain-moving troll. But if the mountain-moving troll wants to defeat him and Xiaoyan, it will never be easy. The mountain-moving troll punched Xiaoyan's rocky back, unable to knock Xiaoyan to the ground. The two were in a stalemate. Lin Tian was not idle. He knew that Xiaoyan wouldn't last long. He dodged directly and landed on Xiaoyan's back, stepped on it hard, and turned into an afterimage, running along the troll's arm towards its head. The flames on the spear in Lin Tian's hand became more and more intense. Lines of magma also flowed on it. He has already brewed up the breath of the ancestral fire dragon. When Lin Tian ran to the shoulder of the troll, he saw the right opportunity, jumped up and stabbed the troll's right eye with the spear in his hand. A pillar of blazing fire wrapped in magma burst out from the head of the spear and stabbed straight at the troll. Eyeballs. The troll sensed danger, but had no time to escape. Ouch! A roar of pain came from the troll's mouth. The mountain-like body took several steps back, and Lin Tian was also shaken off. Wait until the troll lowered his hand covering his right eye. Lin Tian felt pity in his heart. The mountain-moving troll had no time to dodge his blow, but he still had time to close his eyes. I saw that the troll's right eyelid had turned into a burnt black spot, and black smoke was still rising. However, the eyeball was not actually damaged. But the successful attack also gave Lin Tian and Xiaoyan a glimmer of hope. Even if the chance is slim, as long as one person and one dragon work together. The outcome is yet to be determined. In the examination room space. Lin Tian passed the 99th floor, making everyone excited. And Lin Tian has not come out of the trial tower yet, which means that he is fighting the last level of the trial tower. This made everyone even more excited. Both the candidates from across the country and the principals and bosses in the invigilation room were patiently waiting for Lin Tian's final results. By this time, half a day had passed. The half-day wait did not make anyone feel bored. As time went on, they became more and more excited. The longer time goes by, the more intense this battle becomes. This means that Lin Tian may really have a chance to achieve the final victory. The bosses and principals who originally knew about the trial tower did not think that Lin Tian could defeat the strange beasts on the last level. After all, it was a level 85 level exotic beast. But now half a day has passed. On the ranking list, Lin Tian has not yet shown the final score. He is still fighting fiercely. This made all the powerful principals feel shaken. Another half day passed. The time Lin Tian spent on the last level has exceeded the total of the previous 99 levels. But the battle continues. No one got impatient and no one terminated early. Candidates across the country are excitedly looking forward to the results. All the big bosses and principals also know that this may be the only chance to pass the trial tower in the national exam. While everyone was waiting patiently, the light curtain that had been stagnant for a long time finally flickered. First place, Zhang Cheng, Lin Tian, final score is 100th floor. In the trial tower, Lin Tian recalled the scene just now with lingering fear. He and Xiao Yan were fighting to the last moment. Completely exhausted, Xiao Yan fell into a near-death state during the battle with the mountain-moving troll. He was also seriously injured and fell to the ground, losing the ability to fight. If the mountain-moving troll throws one more punch at the end, or if he can hold on for another half-minute, he is the one who loses. Fortunately, the mountain-moving troll was in worse condition than him and Xiao Yan, and died in front of them. Let him successfully pass the last level of this trial tower. After defeating the mountain-moving troll, a ray of holy light restored him and Xiao Yan to their peak condition. Afterwards, Lin Tian was not teleported immediately. A voice sounded in the trial tower. Congratulations to the challenger, you successfully passed the preliminary trial tower and the rewards are being distributed. Lin Tian was stunned when he heard the sound. This is not the sound of the system, it is obviously coming from the trial tower. Elementary trial tower. Is there still a high-level trial tower? A trace of doubt flashed in Lin Tian's heart, but he didn't think much about it. He was still more concerned about the rewards that the trial tower would give out. A ball of light appeared in front of Lin Tian. Lin Tian understood, put his hand into the light ball, and absorbed the light ball instantly. After absorbing the light ball, Lin Tian's pupils shrank suddenly. The reward given by the trial tower turned out to be a talent. Previously, because of system rewards, Lin Tian already possesses a god-level talent, Dragon God. Now I have gained another talent. The generosity of the trial tower exceeded Lin Tian's imagination. He originally thought that the trial tower would give a very valuable reward. But he didn't expect that the reward given by the trial tower would be a priceless talent. It is also a legendary talent that is second only to god-level talents among talents. Lin Tian opened his dashboard and looked at the talent introduction. Legendary talent Mimetic Master Technique. Mimicry technique active. Randomly learn a skill that touches the target, with a 1-month cooldown. See talent introduction. Lin Tian was ecstatic. This talent is fully worthy of the title of legendary talent. You can randomly learn the skills of a target by touching it. Don't underestimate this talent. Although it is learned randomly and cannot be actively controlled, and there is still a 1-month cooldown period, as time goes by, the benefits this talent can bring to him are getting higher and higher. As long as you use it a lot, you can always learn powerful skills randomly. It can even be said that if it is not random learning, and the 1-month cooling limit, this talent will undoubtedly be a god-level talent. After receiving the reward, Lin Tian took Xiao Yan back to Yulong Ranch. He also returned to the examination room space with a white light. He did it. He really did it. We are witnessing history. This is the first candidate to pass the trial tower. Where is Lin Tian? Has he come out? I must see what he looks like. Lin Tianyi returned to the examination room. Then I heard the whole place burst into strong cheers. I heard the discussion. He immediately understood what was going on and turned to look at the ranking list on the light screen. Really, he is number 1, and he is much ahead of number 2. Yang Qi and Ling Qinggran were both waiting for Lin Tian. As soon as Lin Tian appeared, the two came to his side. Yang Qi unexpectedly didn't say anything this time, because he didn't want to cause trouble to Lin Tian. After all, the whole audience was already in a frenzy because of him. But even if he didn't speak, someone noticed Lin Tian's appearance. The news spread like a chain reaction. All the candidates in Zhongcheng were gathering in Lin Tian's direction intentionally or unintentionally. Lin Tian could feel a lot of admiration, adoration, and even fanatical looks. These were not things he wanted to endure. But not before everyone started harassing him. Someone came to his rescue. I saw 3 rays of light lighting up from Lin Tian, Yang Qi, and Ling Qinggran, teleporting them directly to another place. There were some other candidates who were teleported with them. Waiting for Lin Tian and the others again is Zhou Yimin, who recruited them into Longwu. Zhou Yimin informed the 3 of them that they were outstanding candidates for Longwu this year and would be received by Longwu principal Lu Jiaoshang soon. Other candidates who were sent here were received by principals of major universities. Lin Tian and the other 3 followed Zhou Yimin in one direction. Lin Tian noticed that this direction was different from the direction others were going. In addition to the 3 of them, there are 4 other people in this direction. On the way, Lin Tian learned about the major exams of Ling Qinggran and Yang Qi. Ling Qinggran's ranking is 109th. This result is already quite good. If it weren't for the special exam of this year, which included SS-Level and SSS-Level candidates, then Ling Qinggran would definitely be able to enter the top 100 in the country. Yang Qi's ranking is also very good, ranking 398th. Although he is nearly 300 places behind Ling Qinggran, Yang Qi is only an A-level professional, and this result is already quite good. The other 4 people also chatted with Lin Tian for a few words. Lin Tian learned that these 4 people were the other 4 SSS-level professionals besides him in this year's major exam. In the examination room space, he probably glanced at the top of the ranking list. Zhang Feng, Lu Zhanji, and He Lianfei are all the top 4. The only girl left is Kai Yunzu, who is ranked 8th. Ranking 8th is not because she is too weak. The real reason is her profession, which is an auxiliary profession rather than a main combat profession. Although the scenes faced by auxiliary professions in the trial tower are different from those of the main battle professions, they are mainly auxiliary. However, in the case of professions of the same level and level, the number of levels that the auxiliary profession can reach is still much less than that of the main combat profession. The admission standards for auxiliary occupations in major universities are also looser than those for main occupations. So she is in 8th place, definitely not because she is weak. On the contrary, this proves that her career is strong enough. Soon, several people came to the invigilation room. A group of big bosses and principals are waiting for these people. In other words, they are all waiting for Lin Tian. Wait until Lin Tian walks into the invigilation room. A group of bosses and principals gathered around, looking at Lin Tian carefully as if they were studying aliens. But in the end, I didn't see any tricks. At this time, a middle-aged man wearing camouflage combat uniform stood behind Lin Tian, as if to support him. Lin Tian could tell that this was obviously his future principal Lu Jiaoshang. Everyone only saw that Lin Tian was extremely handsome. Other than that, there is nothing special about it. Some people couldn't help but ask directly, Lin Tian, you are a dragon master. How did you reach level 21 without a dragon? How do you have such strength? You can even pass the 100th floor of the trial tower. Hearing this, Lin Tian hesitated for a moment and then prepared to tell the truth. He wasn't going to hide it. He has won the first place in the national examination. The goal of making a name for himself has been achieved, and all the bosses and principals present know him. The country's protection for him is definitely indispensable, and there is no need to worry about speaking out now. But before he could speak, Lu Jiaoshang immediately stopped him and said, No. How can I tell you this kind of thing? Lin Tian has told you now. Doesn't he reveal his trump card in advance? If you tell the candidates in your own school, Lin Tian will suffer a big loss in the second half of the exam. If you want to know, just wait until the second half of the exam. Anyway, Lin Tian will show it sooner or later. Of course the principals present would not do such a thing. Asking this question is entirely out of overwhelming curiosity. But what Lu Jiaoshang said was right. At this point, it was hard for them to ask this question anymore. By the way, Lin Tian, what reward did you get for clearing the trial tower? By the way, Lin Tian, what reward did you get for clearing the trial tower? I don't know who asked. Lin Tian was also stunned when he heard this. Later, Longwu principal Lu Jiaoshang explained, We have always known that we can get rewards by clearing the trial tower. But what exactly this reward is, we never know. Why don't you try it through the level once? Lin Tian asked with some doubts. Lu Zhaoshang shook his head. The trial tower for the national examination is only the preliminary trial tower. The trial tower has restrictions on changing professions. The entry-level trial tower can only be entered by those who have changed professions. It's not like we haven't tried it before. We have also found some SSS-level professionals who were recommended to pass the trial tower. We even tried to let a 25-level SSS-level professional who has not yet undergone the second transformation pass, but he just couldn't. It can only reach the 85th floor. No one has ever successfully passed the preliminary trial tower. Everyone nodded when they heard this, and someone said, "We have always suspected that without a second transformation and a qualitative change in strength, first-level professionals will not be able to pass the trial tower. So I gave up trying later. If you hadn't succeeded, I'm afraid no one would have succeeded in another 100 years." Hear their explanation. Lin Tian was stunned for a moment, then subconsciously asked, "Is there any restriction on the primary trial tower?" "Only first-level professional can enter." "That's right, after the second transfer, the professional's profession will change and he will no longer be able to enter the preliminary trial tower," someone answered. Lu Zhaoshang suddenly remembered Lin Tian's level and thought of something. "Have you already had your second turn?" "Just a few days before the big exam." Lin Tiandao. Everyone was in disbelief. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the fact that the primary trial tower restricts one-time career changes. If Lin Tian had already entered the second level, how could he enter it? Faced with doubts, Lin Tian did not explain. Instead, he took out his professional license, and a light curtain was projected in the ring. The job transfer information of the Dragon Master is displayed above. It was exactly the information Lin Tian entered. Dragon Master has no shortcomings as an all-round profession and does not require any career changes. After the second transformation of the Dragon Master, he is still the Dragon Master. Lin Tian said. That's right. The reason why Lin Tian was able to enter the preliminary trial tower after the second round. It is precisely because after the second transformation of the Dragon Master, he is still a Dragon Master, and his profession has not changed. Lin Tian also didn't expect that the trial tower would have such restrictions. Fortunately, after the Dragon Master changed his profession remained unchanged. Otherwise, he would have trouble even taking the big exam. This can be considered a coincidence. All the bigwigs and principals in the proctoring room were shocked. After the Dragon Master changed his profession, he was still a Dragon Master. Even though they are the most knowledgeable people about various professions, they never know this news. After all, Dragon Masters are too rare. I don't know when the last time a Dragon Master appeared. Even if they are willing to engage in scientific research at any cost, they don't have the chance. The reward I received is a legendary talent. Lin Tian answered their initial question. After getting the answer, everyone nodded. Someone said, "This way you can be considered a talented professional." Talented professionals. Several candidates who came in together asked. This word is also unfamiliar to outstanding candidates like them. Talent professionals are those who gain an additional talent when they awaken their profession. Professionals with additional awakened talents are very rare, no more than SSS-level professions. And the awakening talents are not that powerful. Most of them are useless talents. So it doesn't matter whether you know or not. The foundation of a professional is still his profession. But what Lin Tian obtained turned out to be a legendary talent, and the effect should be very good. A principal explained to several people. Hearing this, the 4 SSS-level career candidates couldn't help but look sideways at Lin Tian. The 4 people have complicated feelings. Lin Tian had already surpassed them by a lot. Now, because I have cleared the trial tower, I have gained a talent, and it is also a legendary talent. This makes them feel so embarrassed. But now that you have obtained the reward, it will be useless even if others pass the preliminary trial tower again. One principal sighed. Lin Tian immediately thought of something. Since there is a primary trial tower, are there other intermediate and high-level trial towers? Lin Tian took the opportunity to continue asking, are there any rewards for completing the other trial towers? Hear Lin Tian's inquiry. Everyone present burst into laughter. Then he said, Yes, the trial tower has elementary levels, and naturally there are intermediate and high levels. It's just that other trial towers are more important and cannot be accessed by ordinary professionals, so the country has not publicized them. I'm not afraid to tell you, kid. The big boss who spoke pointed to a few people besides Lin Tian and continued, you guys are also listening. Other trial towers have the same rewards as the primary trial towers. And the situation is the same as the primary trial tower, because there are restrictions on job transfer, so no one has taken away the rewards so far. You are all the proud sons of our Dragon Kingdom. As long as you have this ability, you can pass other trial towers with your own skills and take away the rewards too. You guys, you lost to Lin Tian this time. If you are determined and continue to work hard, you may not be able to compete with Lin Tian again in other trial towers. The boss's words not only answered Lin Tian's questions, but also inspired several people, including him. Hear this. Lin Tian's eyes lit up, now that the boss of the education department had said so. Then how could he let go of the reward? Each elementary trial tower has legendary talent rewards. He simply couldn't imagine what kind of rewards a higher level trial tower would bring. When Zhang Feng, Lu Zhanji, and He Lianfei heard this, they were also eager to give it a try, and their hopes were ignited again. This time they lost to Lin Tian, but the professional lead for a while does not mean that it will always be the lead. As the boss said, they may not have a chance to compete again. Okay, I've told you too much. The big boss waved his hand and continued, get ready for the big exam in the second half. After saying that, all the bosses and principals walked out of the invigilation room. Only Shenqing, Long Jing, and the three principals of Longwu were left. Lu Jiaoshang said to Lin Tian and the others, I called you here because your 3 scores are the best among the candidates who signed up for our Longwu. In a sense, this also allows the 3 of you to become the leaders of this year's Longwu students. Lin Tian and the other 2 knew this. The principals of each school summoned the top students. This is a signal. It is like telling the students of the school that the person summoned by the principal will lead them to fight against other schools in the second half of the college entrance examination. Lu Jiaoshang continued to say to the 3 of them, although it is not your obligation to lead Longwu students against other schools, you can also choose to ignore it completely and just increase your own points. I don't blame you either. But I still hope that you can lead my Longwu students to fight against other schools. It'll be good for you too. You should also know about the current situation of Longwu. The news that Longwu is about to be demoted are not just rumors. If the points gained by Longwu in this competition at the school are too low, we will face relegation this year. Actually, according to the rules, Longwu, should have been demoted a few years ago. If it weren't for the fact that one of the current guardian war gods of the Dragon Kingdom came from Longwu, this matter would not have been postponed until this year. And in the annual national exam, compared with the trial tower in the first half and the school confrontation in the second half, the big battle is the real focus. In school competitions, the points gained will directly affect how many resources a school can allocate this year. If the points are too few, the allocated resources will also be reduced, which will also be harmful to you. On the contrary, if I, Longwu, get enough points, not only will I not be relegated this year, but the allocated resources will also be prioritized more. After Lu Jiaoshang finished speaking, he looked at Lin Tian. In fact, there is no need for Lu Jiaoshang to say this, Lin Tian also has this intention. Even leaving aside these pros and cons, he also has systematic tasks to complete. After being refused registration by Shenqing University, the task given to him by the system was changed from first place in the National College Entrance Examination to not only getting first place, but also leading Longguo Martial Arts University to get first place in this school competition. The reward for this system mission has been upgraded to a special dragon egg. How could he let it go? Please rest assured, Principal, Lin Tian said solemnly. I cannot guarantee how many Longwu students I can take care of. But in this year's school competition, Longwu will definitely be the first. Hear this. Lu Jiaoshang nodded with satisfaction. He looked at Lin Tian with a little more appreciation. He originally had a good impression of Lin Tian. After all, Lin Tian, as his student of Longwu, won the first place in the national exam, so he was naturally happy. But that's different from today's appreciation. Now, what he admires more about Lin Tian is not his strength, but his determination to win the first place. Lu Jiaoshang has not seen a student with such courage for many years. Even if most people have this intention, they would not dare to say it in front of everyone. Everyone has reservations and dare not speak nonsense because they are worried that they can't do it. But Lin Tian dared. Lu Jiaoshang patted Lin Tian on the shoulder and laughed. Good boy. It's enough for you to have this heart. With your words, no matter what the final result is, Longwu will not blame you. Lu Jiaoshang still left some leeway for Lin Tian. After all, the confrontation between schools is not a matter of one or two people. It is a fact that Longwu's enrollment is getting worse year by year. In the competition with other top universities, it is not easy for Longwu to win. Next to them were Wen Qingliu, the president of Shenqing University, and Zhu Daodan, the president of Longjing University. The two of them were also explaining the situation to the students who had been summoned. The second place Zhang Feng and the 8th place Cai Yunzu are both Shenqing students. Wen Qingliu said to the two of them, "You two will lead other Shenqing students to win the first place in the school competition this time. One of you is the main combat profession, and the other is the auxiliary profession. This will cause you a disadvantage in the trial tower round, but it will be an advantage in the school confrontation. Zhang Feng, you don't need to be afraid of Lin Tian. Even if he ranks first in the exam, he is stronger than you. The school confrontation is, after all, a group confrontation. No matter how strong he is alone, he cannot change the general trend. What's more, there is Cai Yunzu, an SSS-level auxiliary profession. The two of you join forces and my other SS-level professional assists from Shenqing may not be able to defeat Lin Tian. Do you understand?" Hear this. Zhang Feng glanced at Lin Tian fearfully. He had also just passed through the trial tower, so he knew how difficult it was. This guy can pass the trial tower, his strength is really terrifying. But what the principal said was not wrong. This is a group confrontation. Everyone is a novice professional, and individual strength is not enough to fight against the united collective. Zhang Feng nodded. Cai Yunzu on the side also looked at Lin Tian, her eyes were more curious. The other side, Lu Zongji and He Lianfei, who were tied for third place, also heard Zhu Daodan say similar words. Several people were in the invigilation room and heard each other's words clearly. The principals of the three universities did not shy away from this matter. They just want the friction between a few people to create the smell of gunpowder. Wen Qingliu and Zhu Daodan did not want the students in their school to be afraid of Lin Tian because of his strength. Even the principal of Longwu, Lu Jiaoshang, had the same view on this matter. No one from the three parties can give in easily. Must compete. Only with competition can there be motivation. If someone is timid before fighting, then although the other side can easily win, it will lose the fierce competition and win too easily, thus losing the meaning of setting up schools to fight. Only in a constantly competitive environment can we continue to make rapid progress. At this time, Wen Qingliu suddenly looked at Lin Tian. He said, "Lin Tian, how do you feel about the admissions person in charge of Shenqing who rejected your application?" Hearing this, Lin Tian was stunned. The person in charge of Shenqing in the corner of the room was already sweating profusely. Wen Qingliu continued to ask, "Do you want to take revenge on him?" Hear this. Even facing the clear principle, Lin Tian was not afraid at all. "I will take revenge," Lin Tian said bluntly. This answer made Wen Qing smile with satisfaction. The other two principals also realized what he was going to do, and they all showed satisfied smiles. At the same time, they also appreciated Lin Tian's fearless bluntness. "Okay," Wen Qingliu praised and said with a smile, "since you want revenge, I will give you a chance to retaliate against him in an honest way. Originally, the most you could do was take revenge from my Shenqing students. But now, as long as you can lead Longwu to surpass me in Shenqing in the school confrontation, I will send that guy to the border and transfer him to a small town that is useless." The meaning of Wen Qingliu's words was obvious. Just to put pressure on Zhang Feng and all the students in Shenqing. He wants to make this competition between schools even more intense. Zhu Daodan also said, "Lin Tian, the same goes for me, Longjing. Since you want to take revenge, we will give you a chance. Whether you can seize it or not depends on your ability. These two people in charge cost them the opportunity to recruit Lin Tian. They were meant to deal with it. Now being able to use these two people as bargaining chips to increase the intensity of competition is a good use of everything. As for the two admissions officers, their faces were ashen. I feel so much regret. I absolutely shouldn't, but I shouldn't refuse Lin Tian's registration. Why did they meet the first candidate to clear the trial tower? Lin Tian looked at the two principals and nodded solemnly. It's a deal. The three principals explained everything. Several people walked outside. Wait until the time is up. A white light flashed across several people's bodies, and they were about to be teleported into the Academy's confrontation venue. Before leaving, the four SSS-level professionals looked at Lin Tian in unison, and the competition in their eyes was self-evident. Lin Tian didn't pay attention to the four people. Ling Qinggran glanced at Kai Yunzu. She could see that Kai Yunzu's eyes were obviously not malicious, but revealed a curiosity. Ling Qinggran suddenly felt an inexplicable sense of crisis in her heart. While looking at Kai Yunzu, she took the initiative to hold Lin Tian's arm. Seeing this scene, Kai Yunzu also glanced at Ling Qinggran, showing a strange look, and then turned her head, wondering what she was thinking. Brother Zhang, Brother Liu, Brother He, and Sister Kai, see you on the battlefield. Yang Qi smiled at the four of them. Several people nodded in response. He Lianfei smiled bitterly and said, Brother Yang, my surname is Helian and my first name is Fei. Okay, Yang Qi agreed, and then said, Brother Lianfei. He trailed off. The light on several people also flashed, teleporting them away. Wait until the white light dissipates. Lin Tian has been teleported to a mountainous area. It seems that they are already in the space of the real world, halfway up a certain mountain. Yang Qi and Ling Qinggran are still around. At this time, there was an extra ring in the hands of the three of them. It looks similar to a professional license. Lin Tian picked up the ring, and a curtain of light floated up. This ring is a temporary prop for the second half of the exam. It has three main functions. One is to store points, and the other is to provide a battlefield map for the confrontation between this school. On the map, three light spots flashed. Represents the positions of Lin Tian and the others. Lin Tian glanced at the map. In addition to the positions of the three people, there were about 2,000 light spots on the map. These light spots are obviously other Longwu students. The third function of the ring is to protect the students participating in the school confrontation. As long as the student encounters an attack that is fatal, maiming, or seriously injured, the ring will open a formation and open a spherical barrier to cover the student and protect the student from harm. But as long as this barrier is opened, the student will be eliminated. Points will also be looted. This is the basic rule of school confrontation. Earn points by killing strange beasts on this battlefield or plundering others. In addition to not using powerful destructive props, there are almost no restrictions on school confrontation. No matter how honest you are, kill the strange beasts to accumulate points. Or use conspiracy and tricks to defraud others of their points. They can even join forces vertically and horizontally, unite with other students, or even unite with other institutions to expand their power to rob. All means can be used. In short, there are no taboos. The more points you accumulate, the higher your ranking will be. Lin Tian looked at the ring. On the light screen where the ring appeared, two rankings were displayed. One is the overall ranking, which shows the points ranking of all students. This ranking only looks at one's own points. Now on the leaderboard, everyone's points are the initial 100 points. If the points are cleared, you will be eliminated. Another one is the ranking of school points. The calculation is based on the total points earned by all students in the institution. An individual's points ranking is related to the final reward that the individual can obtain. The points ranking of a school is related to the resource allocation that the school can obtain this year. No matter which one, it is very important to Lin Tian. Brother Tian, what should we do next? Yang Qi asked. Lin Tian looked at the map and already had a plan in mind. Let's go to the center. Hearing this, Yang Qi was stunned. Is it too early to go to the center now? Yang Qi asked doubtfully. The school confrontation will last for half a month. During this half month, students should try their best to get points. But this alone is not enough. We must reach the settlement point in the center of this battlefield before the end of half a month. Only reach the settlement point before the school confrontation ends. Points earned are only valid. If the timeout is not reached, or points are robbed midway, it will still be considered a failure. Generally speaking, you only need to rush to the center 2 days in advance. The average participant will spend the previous time killing strange beasts to accumulate points. He would not be like Lin Tian, who was ready to rush to the center from the beginning. Lin Tian shook his head and said, "The sooner you go, the better. It's too late, maybe someone will run away early." Yang Qi was stunned for a moment when he heard this, and then he reacted with a shocked look on his face. "Brother Tian, what do you mean?" "That's right." Lin Tian nodded and said, "Of course I want to wait and plunder their points. It is too inefficient to only gain points by killing strange beasts. It's better to let them accumulate some points first, and then we wait in the center of the battlefield for them to come over and then snatch them away. Only in this way can the efficiency of obtaining points be high enough." Lin Tian already had a plan, and Yang Qi no longer had any objections. However, he was still shocked by the boldness of this plan. Lin Tian had the idea of blocking the settlement point in advance and plundering their points. It is tantamount to making enemies of all students. But Yang Qi believes Lin Tian can do it. It took a long time for Lin Tian to clear the trial tower. This time the school confrontation started very late. It was already dark. "Let's rest first and start again tomorrow morning." Lin Tiandao. Yang Qi took out a tent from the prepared storage ring and said quickly, "I only have this tent, which is only enough for me to sleep alone. You can figure it out yourself." At this time, Ling Qinggran looked at Lin Tian, her face a little blushing. "I forgot my tent," she said in an inaudible voice. Lin Tian looked at the two people helplessly. "Put the tent away, I've already prepared it." With that said, Lin Tian waved his hand. In front of him, 3 containers appeared out of thin air. After a month and a half in the wilderness, he had had enough of sleeping in a tent, so this time he prepared a container in advance. Each container is equivalent to a small, fully furnished room. Yang Qi was extremely happy when he saw the 3 containers. "Okay, Brother Tian, the space for your storage props is big enough. It can even fit in a container." Yang Qi happily found a container nearby and got in. There was a hint of disappointment in Ling Qinggran's eyes. Lin Tian noticed this and could only smile bitterly. He took out 3 containers not because he was a gentleman. But it was impossible for him to take out a container and let Yang Qi sleep outside in a tent for half a month. That would be too unjust. If 2 containers were taken out, he and Yang Qi should be in the same room. After all, there is no problem for 2 people to live in the space of this container, unlike the armored vehicle that day. The 3 of them entered the container and rested. Lin Tian still went to bed early to recharge his batteries in order to win points later. Just asleep, Lin Tian had another familiar dream. In the dream, there seemed to be a soft cloud that entered his bed and got into his arms. The next morning, when Lin Tian woke up, Yang Qi had already gone to the area to clean up some strange beasts and accumulated some points. Although he comes from a rich family background, he is not pampered and will not be vague when he needs to work hard. After Ling Qinggran woke up, 2 blushes appeared on Lin Tian's face as soon as he saw him. Before Lin Tian could figure out what was going on, Ling Qinggran stuffed a breakfast she had made by herself into his hand. Lin Tian accepted it with a confused look on his face and finished his breakfast. Yang Qi on the side said, "Tisk," a few times, and ate the food prepared by Lin Tian in advance with an envious look on his face. "Wait until all 3 of them have finished eating." Yang Qi asked, "Brother Tian, shall we go directly to the center next?" All students were teleported to the edge of the battlefield. While killing strange beasts to accumulate points, they slowly moved towards the center. Lin Tian nodded. "We don't need the 3 melons and 2 dates for killing the alien beasts. These points may be enough to become number 1 in the overall ranking, but they are not enough for Longwu to become number 1 in the school." After hearing this, both of them understood why Lin Tian had such a bold plan. Longwu's enrollment is getting worse every year. Since Longwu does not lower its recruitment standards, there may be no difference in the quality of the students it recruits, and they are all worthy of Longwu's reputation as a top university. But in terms of numbers, Longwu is definitely at a disadvantage. Several other top universities at the same level as Longwu usually enroll between 7 and 8,000 students each year. Even the two universities with the most stringent recruitment standards, Shanqing and Longjing, recruit about 4,000 students every year. In comparison, for Longwu students, the 2,000 or so light spots displayed on the map are pitifully few. Compared to universities of the same level, the number of people is 4 times that of Longwu. Even Shanqing and Longjing, who are at a higher level and have higher quality students, have twice as many people as Longwu. Such a huge numerical disadvantage. Longwu wants to get the first place in the school. Completely fantasy. Even if Lin Tian summoned Xiaoyan, he would clean up the strange beasts 24 hours a day unscrupulously. The points gained were only a drop in the bucket with such a huge gap in numbers. This is also the reason why Longwu principal Lu Jiaoshang did not take Lin Tian's guarantee too seriously. And in this case, Lin Tian wants to lead Longwu to become the number 1 in the academy. No matter whether he relies on killing strange beasts to gain points or uniting all the students of Longwu to work together, it is impossible to do it. There is only one feasible way. That is to use his strength to steal points from students from other schools. Let students from all schools become his leaks. Only in this way can he single-handedly lead Longwu to rank first in the school competition. Want to do this? It's not enough to find people one by one. So Lin Tiansai decided to go directly to the settlement point in the center of the battlefield. By the time the students from each school arrived at the settlement point, they were almost all gathered. When the time comes, his sickle will be efficient enough to cut leaks. What are the disadvantages of doing this? There is that too. Yang Qi also thought about it, and he asked with some worry, Brother Tian, if we do this, we will undoubtedly become enemies of all schools. Not to mention that all schools unite, even if there are thousands of people in one school, we will be able to defeat them by then. Have you passed? When he asked this, he certainly did not underestimate Lin Tian's strength. He had seen with his own eyes how terrifying Xiaoyan was. It's just that Lin Tian's plan is too amazing. It is impossible for one person to make all the students of the school surrender. Hear the question. Lin Tian explained seriously. If they really rush forward, I will certainly not be their opponent. There are hundreds of thousands of students from all the universities combined. Even if hundreds of thousands of people stand still and give me donation points, it will still take me more than 10 days to collect them one by one. It will be enough to tire me out. Hearing this, Yang Qi and Ling Qinggran also fell into thinking. He seemed to be wondering what Lin Tian could do. Since Lin Tian dares to make this plan, he must be confident. However, after thinking for a long time, neither of them could guess what Lin Tian was going to do. Brother, what can you do that day? Yang Qi asked with some doubts. Both of them turned their attention to Lin Tian, wanting to know Lin Tian's trump card. Lin Tian chuckled lightly. There is no way. Lin Tian said it very casually, but the two of them heard it very puzzled. No way. This. Yang Qi was speechless. Lin Tian continued to explain. These hundreds of thousands of students are already the elites who have gone through a round of screening among millions of candidates and are ranked in the top 10% of millions of people. Even if I have great abilities, I'm only level 21. How can we possibly deal with these hundreds of thousands of elite candidates who have united together? The two of them became even more puzzled. Lin Tian was right. Let alone a second-level professional, even a level 40 or even level 60 professional, a third-level or fourth-level professional, facing hundreds of thousands of elite candidates, would still be piled to death by such a huge number. At this time, Lin Tian changed the subject. But the premise of all this is that these hundreds of thousands of people can unite. But that's not going to happen. Yang Qi's mind was a little confused, and he doubted, why won't it happen? In a school confrontation, having your points cleared is equivalent to being killed in the wilderness. By analogy, it is equivalent to a life and death battle. Even if it is usually impossible for them to unite, but facing a common life and death crisis, how should they know? Let's unite to deal with our opponents first, and then compete with each other for points afterwards, right? Hear this. Ling Qinggran, who always thought Yang Qi deserved a beating for his words, couldn't help but nodded. Getting hundreds of thousands of people to unite is indeed a daunting task. But if they face a huge difficulty together, unity is not that difficult. Human history has proven this countless times. Hearing this, Lin Tian smiled and shook his head. When did I say that I would take away all their points? He said to the two of them. I only want 90%, or 80%, and I can even give in a little more. Both of them didn't understand. Even if it's only 70% or 80%, what's the difference? As long as others unite, they don't need to pay so much. Lin Tian continued to explain. As long as they can unite and pay a maximum of 10,000 to 20,000 people, which is the number of people from 3 or 4 universities, it will definitely be enough to put me out. None of them will need to pay 70% to 80% of the points in the future. But who wants to be the one who takes the lead in order to save other people's points? This explanation made Yangqi and Ling Qinggran instantly understand Lin Tian's plan as if they were electrocuted. Yes, who would stand out for others? I'm afraid no one is willing to do this. Chapter 61. Lin Tian's explanation made Yangqi and Ling Qinggran understand everything. If they choose to sacrifice their own points in order to keep Lin Tian's points. Neither of them hesitated, but if the scope is expanded further, the results will be different. Even if everyone is from the same school, most of them are strangers who don't know each other at all. Who would choose to clear their own points to zero in order to keep other people's points? Not to mention that in this competition between schools, all schools are competitors. It is impossible to choose to sacrifice yourself in order to save other people's points. It is even impossible for each school to send out some people in proportion to besiege Lin Tian. For the group, this really only sacrifices the points of a very small number of people, while preserving the points of the vast majority of people. It may seem like a small loss, but for those who were sacrificed, they had truly lost everything. It's not true that no one wants to do this kind of thing. In fact, Longguo has been here for so many years. I don't know how many fearless soldiers have made such sacrifices. It is also because of this that the stability of the Dragon Kingdom can be guaranteed for so many years. Even many students in this school competition will make the same choice in the future. But the situation is different now. Many people do this in order to protect their homes and country, and many people have no regrets. But now this school confrontation is, in the final analysis, nothing more than an exam and a competition. Everyone gets points just to show off their own strength so that they can get more resources after officially entering the school. Otherwise, there would be no personal points ranking. For everyone, this is a show of strength. Since it is a show, no one is willing to give up the opportunity to show off their own strength just so that others can show their strength. Lin Tian's explanation made the two of them feel numb. Brother Tian, you are so clever. Yangqi couldn't help but praise. Lin Tian's plan is too clever. Reducing the points for plunder from all plunder to 70-80% or 80-90% can make hundreds of thousands of people give up the idea of uniting to resist. Just such a simple method can fight against such a huge force. Under Lin Tian's words, the coalition forces of hundreds of thousands of people, which originally threatened them, collapsed before they even appeared. This really amazed the two of them. It's just a joke. The compliments from the two people did not make Lin Tian proud. This method was not original to him. Many smart people had understood this truth long before him. And it has been used for I don't know how many years. When the three of them communicated, from time to time, a floating ship would fly overhead. These floating ships are jointly built by array masters and blacksmiths, and are made of various metals, unknown stones and woods. Now it is used on the battlefield of school confrontation to patrol and monitor the situation of the entire field at any time. Looking at the floating ship flying overhead, Yangqi asked, Brother Tian, shall we set off now? Lin Tian nodded and said, yes, let's set off now. Make a decision. The three of them got into the armored vehicle prepared by Lin Tian and rushed towards the settlement point in the center of the battlefield. This battlefield is quite large. Even at the speed of an armored vehicle, it would take nearly 2 days to get to the center of the battlefield. While driving in the car, Lin Tian took out the temporary ring and looked at the two rankings. The ranking of colleges and universities is similar to what Lin Tian imagined. Currently, Shenqing University is ranked first, and Longjing University is ranked second with a very small gap. The rankings of the two will change positions from time to time. Further down the rankings are several of the top universities in the Dragon Kingdom. The ranking situation is similar to the ranking of the school itself among the Dragon Kingdom schools. The Longguo Martial Arts University has now fallen to the 10th place. Among all the top universities, Longwu is at the bottom. But this is normal. After all, the number of students in Longwu is too small and there is no comparison with other top universities. Even this ranking is better than Lin Tian expected. He originally thought that Longwu's small number of students would be around 15 to 20. Now it seems, although the number of Longwu students is small, the quality is not inferior to other top universities. The situation on the overall ranking list was somewhat different from Lin Tian's expectation. None of the 4 SSS-level professionals, Zhang Feng, Lu Zongji, He Lianfei, and Kai Yunzu, appeared at the top of the rankings. Lin Tian glanced over and saw that there was no trace of these 4 people among the first few hundred people. As a support professional, it is normal for Kai Yunzu not to be at the top of the rankings. The other 3 are all main combat professions, so this situation is a bit abnormal. But Lin Tian quickly figured out the reason. He would think of plundering other people's points because he felt that it was too slow to gain points simply by clearing out the beasts. As the top 4 people in terms of strength, they can naturally imagine it. Moreover, as SSS-level professionals, the 4 of them had been summoned by the principal just like him. In a sense, they were the student leaders of their respective schools in this school confrontation. Not only do you have to consider your own points, but you also have to make the school the number 1 in this confrontation. For this purpose, more forces must be united. These 4 people should be busy gathering other students from the same school now. No time to accumulate your own points. That's why it's missing from the overall rankings. But Lin Tian knew, as long as these 4 people gather enough people, both their personal points and the points of the 2 universities will begin to grow rapidly. Even the major universities had all gathered together by that time. In comparison, the power they can exert is far less than that of top universities. Especially Shenqing University and Longjing University. After all, whether it is other top universities or the 2 major universities of Shenqing and Longjing, the students are stronger than other universities. Lin Tian looked at the top universities and the top students. I really look forward to these people working harder to gain points. Because in the end, these points were accumulated for him. On the way to the center of the battlefield, Lin Tian met some Longwu students. But he didn't care about these people. He wanted Longwu to win the first place in the school's confrontation. But he has no intention of babysitting these alumni. How many points these people can get depends on their own abilities. Lin Tian didn't think much about it. While recharging his energy, he chatted with Ling Qinggran and Yang Qi who was driving. At the same time, located above the center of the battlefield, in a huge floating ship, a group of bosses and principals have moved here to continue to monitor the situation. However, their current task is not to invigilate exams. Instead, look at the level of students in this class of each institution. And examine the performance of students from their own institutions in this confrontation. Naturally, the one who received the most attention was Lin Tian. Lin Tian's current behavior has once again attracted their attention. A floating ship in the center of the battlefield. Lin Tian's unusual behavior caused a group of bosses and principals to start discussing again. Lin Tian, what are you planning to do? On the first day, we rushed all the way to the center of the battlefield. Is it possible that he also plans to wait for the enemy at the settlement point in the center of the battlefield? If that's the case, he's too arrogant. Everyone also nodded and agreed with this view. Even Longwu's principal, Lu Zhaoshang, frowned slightly. This kind of thing of relying on one's own strength and choosing to wait and see has been done by many people in previous school confrontations. But without exception, they all paid the price for their arrogance. The reason is self-explanatory. Just like what Lin Tian analyzed. The students participating in the school confrontation are just novice professionals. No matter how strong they are not much better. Forcing hundreds of thousands of people to surrender with one person's power is not something a novice professional of this level can do. Those who have chosen to do this in previous school confrontations, most of them are not so brainless that they think they can defeat 10,000 people with one person. They mostly thought they could defeat them one by one. But they overlooked one thing. That is to wait for the students from various universities. When the time is about to end and rush to the settlement point in the center of the battlefield, most of them have already gathered. Wait until they see their prey. Teams of thousands of people have been formed in various universities. They could only watch helplessly as the rabbits, who had been waiting for half a month, settled their points one by one in front of their eyes. But they have no time to kill the strange beasts to gain points. The only outcome faced is failure. Lu Jiaoshang also expected Lin Tian to take other actions. All the big guys and other principals have temporarily lost interest in Lin Tian. Then he looked at the situation of some other outstanding students. The thousands of light curtains that were flashing in front of everyone's eyes were all transmitted back by the thousands of floating ships that were constantly patrolling the battlefield. At this time, everyone is paying the most attention to the other 4 SSS-level professionals. Old Wen, these 2 students of yours are pretty good. Instead of rushing to accumulate points, they first followed the directions on the map to find other alumni. Lao Ju's 2 students are also good, and their progress is no slower than Zhang Feng. Wen Qingliu and Zhu Daodan did not pay attention to such compliments. After all, these 4 people are also SSS-level professionals. It is not an exaggeration to say that they are the best among men. If they cannot figure this out, then their awakening to the SSS-level profession will be in vain. Except for these 4 people, the principals of various schools are also paying attention to those SS-level professionals. Compared to the 5 SSS-level professionals headed by Lin Tian, they may be slightly inferior. But this does not mean that they are not strong enough. To the outside world, each of these students is regarded as the pride of heaven. There are not even 1 or 2 in a state. And because of this major exam reform, except for Longwu, every top school has recruited SS-level professionals. Originally, most of these people would be escorted directly to Shanqing or Longjing. But this time, many registered for other top universities. The reason is also very simple. Although the 2 universities, Shanqing and Longjing, are good, there are too many top-level professionals, and there are even SSS-level students weighing on them. As a result, the resources that can fall into their hands are still limited. Rather than that, it's better to make chicken heads than phoenix tails. In other top universities, they may be the only SS-level professionals, and the resources they can obtain will be much greater. What's more, the universities they chose are all top universities, and the resources are not bad. With this addition and subtraction, they will only get more resources than before. Of course, these principals do not only focus on students in these top careers. They know the top professions, and they can only say that the probability of rising is greater. But these are definitely not the only ones who can become strong. Historically, there have been many average professions, only B-level, C-level, or even D-level professionals who have become strong through their own efforts, combat talents, and some opportunities. In the battlefield at this moment, some students with ordinary careers but good performance attracted their attention. This student from Tianjin University named Mo Fan has performed very well. Although he only has a B-level profession and is only level 14, his strength is not bad and his mind is very bright. He is one of the outstanding students of our Tianjin University. With only his B-level profession and level 14, he can rank 308th in the trial tower in the first half of the season. The principal of Tianjin University said very proudly. Everyone nodded in affirmation upon hearing this. B-level professions only have a level of 14. From a basic point of view, it can be said to be very ordinary. With such an ordinary foundation, he was able to rank 308th in the trial tower. This position is almost only ranked below S-level occupations and some of the best candidates for A-level occupations. This student named Mo Fan definitely has great fighting talent. Why did he sign up for Tianjin University? This score is enough for him to choose between Shanqing and Longjing. Isn't this another person who was refused registration? He is also a student of Zhongcheng. I think it is very possible. Hear this. Wen Qingliu and Zhu Daodan both looked aggrieved, but the president of Tianjin University looked proud. But Mo Fan's position seems to be not far from that of He Lianfei in Longjing. It would be unlucky to meet him. Since then, there are always many students who are very good but are eliminated early because they encounter stronger opponents too early. Mo Fan is chasing Long Wu's students. It seems that the 2 students He Lianfei is chasing are also Long Wu's. Long Wu is really unlucky. Hear this. Lu Jiaoshang's face was as calm as water, without any disturbance. It is natural for those who are not as skilled as others to be eliminated. Can't blame anyone. Even if you lose to your opponent in the examination room, you can learn from your shame and become brave again. It is better than losing to the enemy on the battlefield. The two groups of Longwu students seem to be escaping from the same location. In this way, Mo Fan and He Lianfei will really meet. Hearing this, the principal of Tianjin University became a little anxious. He quickly waved his hand and opened the map of Longwu students on the light screen. Everyone saw about 2,000 light spots flashing on the map. At the intersection of the escape directions of the two groups of Longwu students, there were 3 light spots moving towards the center of the battlefield. They want to ask Longwu alumni for help. These 3 students were unlucky enough to have their classmates come to our door with Mo Fan and He Lianfei. According to this statement, Mo Fan is also unlucky. After these people meet, He Lianfei will still be the winner. The principal of Tianjin University said with some dissatisfaction, "How do you know that Mo Fan can't escape? I think this kid is so smart, escaping is not a problem." As he defended himself, suddenly one person realized something. Something's wrong. The direction of movement of these 3 light spots looks like Lin Tiantian. Hear this. The president of Tianjin University immediately opened the surveillance screen of the aerospace ship where the 3 light spots were. In the picture, an armored vehicle is driving straight towards the center of the battlefield. Everyone knows this armored vehicle. They had just seen this armored vehicle. It was the vehicle belonging to Lin Tian and the others. See this scene. The president of Tianjin University's heart suddenly went cold. One He Lianfei is not enough, here comes another Lin Tian. If Mo Fan had a chance to escape from He Lianfei, then facing Lin Tian, Mo Fan had absolutely no hope. The principal of Tianjin University is not the only one who is nervous. Zhu Daodan was also horrified. He Lianfei is one of the only 2 SSS-level professionals in Longjing. If he meets Lin Tian in advance now, he will eliminate him. That's a big joke. Lu Zan alone would never be able to compete with the 2 SSS-level professions Shenqing. Without He Lianfei, it can be said that Shenqing will be the best in the school competition this year. As for if the 2 meet and become hostile, who can stay? Zhu Daodan knew it very well. He didn't expect He Lianfei to defeat Lin Tian at all. Although He Lianfei is an SSS-level professional, he is definitely one of the strongest people in this exam. Even Zhang Feng, who has 1 more levels in the trial tower, may not be able to beat He Lianfei in a real battle. But it's different when the opponent is Lin Tian. Like everyone else, Zhu Daodan didn't think clearly about how Lin Tian passed the trial tower. But he knows better. That is, Lin Tian's strength is by no means stronger than others. But a cliff-like lead. When the 2 meet, He Lianfei will definitely lose. As time goes by, the distance between the 3 becomes closer and closer, and the encounter has become a foregone conclusion. Zhu Daodan and the president of Tianjin University were both worried about their students meeting Lin Tian. Others were looking forward to this scene. As long as the 3 of them meet, a fierce battle will inevitably break out. In that way, they can also see Lin Tian's true face in Lucian. At the same time, this has another benefit for them, that is, it will make the students of their respective schools have one less competitor like He Lianfei and Mo Fan. In the eyes of everyone's expectations, the 3 parties have come together. The 2 groups of Longwu students who were originally being chased simultaneously caught up with the armored vehicle containing Lin Tian and the others. "Classmate, save me. We are also students of Longwu and are being hunted. Please help." In the armored car, Lin Tian and the 3 of them heard calls for help. "Brother Tian, do we care?" Yang Qi asked first without stopping the car. Lin Tian nodded and said, "Let's take a look." After all, the person being hunted is also a student of Longwu. Although he will not take the initiative to be a nanny, he is also the leader of Longwu students appointed by the principal. If a classmate asks for help in front of him, he still cannot sit idly by. Yang Qi stopped the car. The 3 walked outside the armored vehicle. There were 4 Longwu students being hunted. What surprised Lin Tian was that there were more than 1 group of people chasing them. There were 15 people in 1 group. Lin Tian immediately recognized the leader. The footsteps were that of Longjing Lianfei, whom he had just met last night. The other group was smaller, with only 7 people. What surprised Lin Tian even more was that he had seen the leader of this group of 7 people before. This person was exactly the student who was humiliated and rejected by the person in charge of Shenqing in front of everyone when the 3 of them were queuing up at the Shenqing registration office because the person in front of them was only level 14 or AB level professional. I didn't expect to meet here again. Both sides are still acquaintances. This made Lin Tian a little happy. It was a coincidence that the 3 of them could meet on a battlefield that could accommodate hundreds of thousands of people. When the 4 Longwu students saw that the other party was also being chased, there were only 3 of them on Lin Tian's side. He immediately said to Lin Tian and the others, "Classmates, we are still at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. If not, just run away and let the people on both sides fight with each other." Lin Tian glanced at the 4 of them. These 4 people can think of running away first, which shows that they are not stupid and worthy of his slight help. Faced with the 4 people's suggestions, Lin Tian did not answer. Yang Qi looked at the nervous look of the 4 of them, and smiled at them with a relaxed expression. "You are lucky to meet us. You don't have to worry about the rest." Hear this. 2 of the 4 relaxed a little. Since Yang Qi dared to say this, he must have some strength. But the other 2 people became even more anxious and quickly said again, "No, classmate. The team that is chasing us too is led by He Lianfei from Longjing. It's the same He Lianfei who is tied for 3rd in the trial tower." After hearing this, the 2 people who had just relaxed became even more nervous than before. It's really a wave of ups and downs. And each wave is higher than the other. What kind of strength is it to tie for 3rd place? One person is definitely enough to deal with them combined. Not to mention that this guy led more than a dozen people. Student Long Wu just finished speaking. In the dense forest in the distance, 2 groups of people chasing them rushed out. Another group of people who were chasing him immediately became vigilant when they saw that He Lianfei's team had a larger number of people. "You can't escape. I didn't expect that there would be so many unexpected gains following you too. The 7 of you should all be from Longwu, and there are 7 more from who knows which school. The harvest is huge now." When more than a dozen people from Longjing saw this scene, they shouted with confidence. If they can enter Longjing, they are the proud ones of heaven, not to mention that the boss He Lianfei is now in charge. We have the same number of people, so I have the advantage. On the other side, there was a team from Tianyan University who were also chasing 2 Longwu students. The leader is none other than Mo Fan. See this scene. Mo Fan didn't hesitate at all and immediately looked at Longwu's 7 people. He said, "Brother Longwu, we were chasing you too just now, but now if you want to keep your points and not be eliminated, we must join forces. What do you think?" The 2 people who were being chased just now did not hesitate and replied without any grudge, "We can join forces." Both parties are not fools and know how to get through the current situation. There is only one way to join forces. After receiving the answer, Mo Fan ignored the 2 of them. Instead, he turned to look at Lin Tian. He could tell at a glance that Lin Tian's strength was not simple, and the atmosphere among the few people showed that Lin Tian was obviously the one who could make the decision. Before he could wait for Lin Tian's reply, Yang Qi spoke. "Hey, buddy, aren't you the one who was rejected by Shenqing yesterday?" Yang Qi smiled with surprise on his face. "We are really destined. We had the same problem yesterday, and we met again today." As soon as this sentence came out, the big bosses and principals in the floating ship who were paying attention here all turned their heads to look at Wen Qingliu. Wen Qingliu also looked uncomfortable. Hear this. Mo Fan also recalled it. Yesterday, after he was refused to leave, he seemed to vaguely hear that 3 more people were refused registration, but his mentality had not recovered at the time, so he didn't pay much attention. Mo Fan didn't pay much attention to this matter. There are more important and urgent things at the moment. He raised his hands and said to Lin Tian and Yang Qi, "My lord, Mo Fan, since these brothers and I are so destined, why don't we join forces? We are students from Tianyan University, and you are from Longguo Martial Arts University. Our Junlin strength is not much worse than that of the students from Longjing. Even if we join forces we cannot defeat them. It's better to escape half of them than to be wiped out by them here. My name is Yang Qi, this is my brother Lin Tian, and this is my brother's best friend Ling Qinggran, the school beauty of Ling University. Yang Qi introduced to Mo Fan, but did not answer the question of joining forces. When Ling Qinggran heard Yang Qi's introduction, her cheeks turned red immediately. Lin Tian glanced at Mo Fan. Naturally, he would not join forces with anyone. But this guy named Mo Fan has already left a big impression on him. Mo Fan can become the leader of at least one team among students from top universities like Tianjin University, which shows that his strength is not weak. Lin Tian still remembers that he is just a level 14B level professional. It is not easy to do this. He must be the kind of person who works hard and has fighting talent. And in just a short period of time, Mo Fan was able to analyze the situation at the scene clearly in an instant, and proposed to join forces with Long Wu, which shows that he has a good mind. Such a person, if not for his bad luck, would have met He Lianfei too early. It will definitely shine in the school competition. Think for a moment. Lin Tian thought clearly about how to deal with these two people. In the floating ship, a group of big bosses and principals are still paying attention to this place. Originally they thought that neither Mo Fan nor He Lianfei had gathered enough manpower. With only these dozen or so people, it is impossible for Lin Tian to be his opponent. Their meeting was a little too early. However, Mo Fan's handling still made their eyes shine. Although due to poor information, Mo Fan did not know that Lin Tiansai was the big boss in this three-party intersection like them. But based on the information Mo Fan could get, his handling was perfect. The thinking reflected in this process is not simple either. The principal of Tianjin University also paid more attention to Mo Fan. Even if Mo Fan had bad luck and was eliminated now, he decided to focus on training Mo Fan. Mo Fan's handling has been recognized by everyone. Everyone's attention gradually turned to He Lianfei. In the battlefield, seeing that the other party had not responded to the matter of joining forces, Mo Fan became a little anxious. The people of Longjing were already close at hand, and if they did not join forces to fight against the enemy, they would have no chance. He wanted to give some more advice. However, Longjing's students interrupted him. It turns out to be Tianjin University. Even if you join forces it will be useless. You can give up the idea of escape. With boss He Lianfei here, none of you can escape. A dozen students from Longjing University shouted at them extremely arrogantly. Hear this. Mo Fan's face darkened. His hanging heart finally died. The students of Longjing University were still shouting at everyone and did not choose to take action immediately. In their view, this is not arrogance. Because they are students of Longjing, they are naturally superior to others. No one deserves their attention except Shencheng. What's more, the person leading them now is He Lianfei, who is tied for third place in the trial tower with Longjing's other boss. With such a configuration, how could they lose? Who dares to stop me? Who can be me? If you don't show off now, when will you wait? Listening to the clamor of Longjing students, Mo Fan also felt deeply unlucky and complained in his heart. It wasn't that he was not strong enough, it was just bad luck. On the first day, he met He Lianfei, who was ranked third in the trial tower. He knew very well that this was not someone he could deal with at all. However, Mo Fan did not give up the struggle. He was still thinking about the possibility of escaping from He Lianfei. At present, there are only 7 people in Tianjin University including him, and Longwu also has 7 people. There were only 14 people from both sides joining forces, and Longjing's side had one more person than them. There is also He Lianfei among them. It's impossible to escape just by joining forces. The original plan was scrapped. If you want to hold He Lianfei back, you must be at least an SS-level professional. As for defeating He Lianfei, only those SSS-level professionals can do it. For example, Lu Zongji ranked 3rd in the trial tower, Zhang Feng ranked 2nd, or Lin Tian ranked 1st. Think of this. Mo Fan suddenly froze, etc. He remembered, wasn't the person ranked 1st in the trial tower named Lin Tian? And the person in front of him is also named Lin Tian. Mo Fan figured everything out instantly. As a candidate in Zhongchang, Lin Tiantong, who ranked 1st in the National College entrance examination, was a candidate in Zhongchang. Of course it's impossible for him not to know. He was so anxious before because of Longjing's threat that he didn't think about it. But now he understands it all. The first place in the big exam was Lin Tian from Zhongchang. The man in front of him is also a candidate from Zhongcheng, also named Lin Tian. Obviously he is the Lin Tian who ranked first in the college entrance examination. In order to confirm his idea, Mo Fan turned to look at the leader of the Longjing students, He Lianfei. At this time, the students in Longjing are still clamoring and showing off. Yet they didn't notice. He Lianfei didn't know when he quietly retreated behind all of them. See this scene. Mo Fan knew that he guessed it right. He Lianfei obviously recognized Lin Tian from the beginning and knew that he was invincible. He was about to abandon Longjing's classmates and run away alone. In the floating ship, all the big bosses and principals saw He Lianfei's intention. Although it was a bit embarrassing to leave his classmates and run away alone, and he was also one of the leaders of Longjing students. But everyone had to say that there was nothing wrong with He Lianfei's decision. He Lianfei is one of the 2 SSS-level professionals in Longjing. In this school confrontation, his value to Longjing University is far greater than that of these 14 Longjing students. At this time, the wisest decision is to run away by yourself. If you choose to confront Lin Tian head-on in order to keep these 14 Longjing students. That's stupid. This kid is really worthless. He is an SSS-level professional. He doesn't even have the courage to fight Lin Tian. Zhu Daotan scolded, but he was relieved in his heart. As long as He Lianfei doesn't fall into Lin Tian's hands from the very beginning, then everything is easy to say. In the battlefield, Mo Fan, who guessed the real situation, felt no joy at all. He Lianfei is no longer a threat. But here comes Lin Tian, who poses a greater threat. Although they were both Zhongcheng candidates, Mo Fan didn't think Lin Tian would show mercy to him for this reason. Mo Fan only felt that there was nowhere to cry. I just left the wolf's den, and now I'm in the tiger's den again. None of them can be dealt with by him. Mo Fan couldn't think of a perfect solution for a while. No matter what, let's drag He Lianfei into the water first. Brother Helian, since you recognize Brother Lin, why do you need to leave? Is it possible that you are afraid? As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at He Lianfei behind the crowd. Under the gaze of all Longjing students. If He Lianfei just abandons them and runs away, he will be humiliated, and he will never be able to raise his profile at Longjing University in the future. What's more, with everyone staring at him like this, he had no chance to run away even if he wanted to. He Lianfei was completely unable to get off the tiger. He braced himself and laughed. Who said I was leaving? Seeing that he was being dragged into the water, Mo Fan added fuel to the fire and said, I know that Brother Helian, as an SSS-level professional, cannot abandon his classmates and run away alone. Hear this. All Longjing students were angry. Tianyan University, don't be so rude. How could I, the student leader of Longjing University, think about running away? That's right. Why are you running away? Is it just you? You are too arrogant. Have you forgotten that you just wanted to join forces with someone? See this scene. Mo Fan knew that He Lianfei couldn't leave even if he wanted to. At least he couldn't leave the others and run away. He Lianfei forced a smile on his face, pretending to be calm, and started thinking crazily in his mind, what should he do? It was impossible to leave my classmates and run away. It was even more impossible to confront Lin Tian head-on. Although he is an SSS-level professional, he has been a child of someone else's family since he was a child, and he is no less arrogant than anyone else. But he is not a fool, and he is not arrogant enough to think that he can beat Lin Tian head-on. Lin Tian is obviously much stronger than him. Just the number of floors the two of them reached in the trial tower was 20 floors short. It's not the same level of combat effectiveness at all. What's more, he reached the 80th floor because his strength could only reach the 80th floor. And Lin Tian passed the level. He reached the 100th floor, probably because the trial tower only has the 100th floor. He Lianfei also fell into the same predicament as Mo Fan. Could it be that he, like Mo Fan, wants to join forces? Think of this. He Lianfei glanced at Mo Fan. At this time, Mo Fan also glanced at him. Obviously Mo Fan, like him, thought of the possibility of the two sides joining forces to fight against Lin Tian. However, after the two looked at each other, they looked away, and neither of them mentioned the matter of joining forces. There is no other reason. Just the two of them, or just the people present, even if they join forces, they cannot be Lin Tian's opponent. Mo Fan was the first to think of a solution. He first whispered a few words to several classmates who were following him. Several Tianjin University students looked in disbelief after hearing this, glanced at Lin Tian, and then nodded. Then Mo Fan looked at the students at Longjing University. These people haven't figured out the situation yet and are still shouting. He Lianfei was worried, but given the difference in strength, he had no good solution. The only solution for now is to lead everyone and run away. Shut up, everyone, He Lianfei scolded. The Longjing students suddenly became quiet. He Lianfei gathered them together and said in a low voice, "That guy from Longwu is Lin Tian who passed the trial tower first in the big exam." When a trace of Longjing students heard this, their eyes widened and they swallowed unconsciously. "Now that we are unable to defeat him, we can only run away." He Lianfei continued. "You run away first in a moment, and I will help you stay behind." Of course, he couldn't really help these classmates take the throne. This is not because he is selfish, but because he knows that if he keeps these people now, he will be eliminated. Longjing University will only have more students eliminated and the losses will be even greater. He then pretended to be a little sad and said, "But Lin Tian is very powerful. Even I can't stop Lin Tian for long. I will be eliminated by him soon. Each of you can count as many as you can, and then go find Lu Zongji. It's a pity that I will be eliminated. Then I won't be able to protect more Longjing students. Lu Zongji's pressure will also increase sharply. I don't know if Longjing University can maintain its ranking." He Lianfei finished his words. All the Longjing students looked ashamed. "Boss Helian, it's because we are too weak and we want to hurt you. No, you can't be eliminated here, otherwise how can we, Longjing, fight against Shenqing?" The students in Longjing became angry. "That's right, Boss Helian. If we are eliminated, we will be eliminated, but you absolutely can't. We should join forces to stop Lin Tian and let Mr. Helian leave first." He Lianfei knew how to act well. He did not turn around and run immediately, but took out a weird dagger that was 50 or 60 centimeters long and rushed directly towards Lin Tian. Witness this scene. A group of Longjing students quickly stepped forward to stop him, and then rushed towards Lin Tian. "We can't leave anymore. Brother Helian, please run for the sake of our ranking in Longjing." Although the situation on the battlefield has changed several times, but only a few minutes actually passed. Lin Tian also waited patiently for them to finish their performance. Seeing all the Longjing students rushing towards him, he was about to take action, but hadn't raised his palm yet. Ling Qinggran stood in front of him, raised the staff in his hand, and waved a ball of fire. The fireball entered the crowd and exploded with a bang. In an instant, a spherical barrier formed by light opened up on several people's bodies, covering them and preventing them from being harmed by the fireball. This is the protective array of the temporary ring. The emergence of the protective formation also means that these people have lost the qualifications to fight in the school. Was eliminated miserably. The remaining people still want to resist. Ling Qinggran fired several more fireballs. In front of the fireballs, the resistance of the Longjing students was in vain. They all lit up protective arrays and were eliminated. This sudden turn of events. Everyone present did not expect this. They only knew that Lin Tian was powerful, but they didn't know that the woman next to Lin Tian was also so powerful. Not even the dignified Longjing students could stop him. Lin Tian and Yang Qi were not surprised by this. Ling Qinggran is also ranked 109th in the country. Of course, ordinary Longjing students cannot be her opponent. "Brother Tian," Helian ran away. This voice made all Longjing students react and quickly looked at He Lianfei's position. At this time, He Lianfei had disappeared. There was only a shadow on the ground in the distance, running away quickly, and soon disappeared from everyone's sight. Yang Qi threw out a talisman but did not catch up with him. See this scene. All the Longjing students breathed a sigh of relief. "Lin Tian, you are still held back by us. Boss Helian has successfully escaped." They chose to do this just to let Helianfei escape. From their point of view, the escape at this moment is a victory worth celebrating. Lin Tian ignored them. He just glanced at the direction where He Lianfei disappeared. He Lianfei managed to escape, certainly not because he was really held back. If he had thought about it, it would have been impossible for He Lianfei to leave just now. Actually, This was what he originally expected to do to He Lianfei. Let him escape. If it were to eliminate He Lianfei now, then Lin Tian would never listen to their nonsense for so long. He cooperated with them to complete this scene just to let He Lianfei leave. There is no other reason. Without He Lianfei's presence, Longjing University would definitely gain much fewer points. This is not what he wants to see. Longjing is one of the 2 fattest leaks under his sickle. In the floating ship, He Lianfei's escape caused a lot of discussion among the bosses and principals. His means of escape were obviously not honorable. First, he wanted to escape alone, but then he failed because of the exposure incident. Then there was another righteous and awe-inspiring performance. What He Lianfei did was tantamount to deceiving Longjing's classmates and risking their lives in order to help him escape alone and provide cover. This series of actions made Zhu Daodan a little confused. This kid is really cunning. Although Zhu Daodan cursed, he was relieved in his heart. In any case, He Lianfei finally escaped this disaster. Actually, all the bosses and principals mostly agreed with He Lianfei's approach. Although He Lianfei's methods are not glorious, this series of temporary decisions can be changed according to changes in the situation, and the response is quite fast. More importantly, this is the only reasonable and feasible approach. SSS-level professionals like He Lianfei are able to let go of their pride, recognize the situation and run away decisively. This is not easy at all. He Lianfei left his colleagues and fled. But his escape still won everyone's approval. As for the other 2 parties in this 3-party meeting, the big bosses and principals were a little confused. Lin Tian did not stop He Lianfei from escaping, which puzzled them. Mo Fan did not take advantage of the chaos to escape, which also made them confused. The principal of Tianyan University felt anxious when he saw this. Everyone continued to look at the light curtain, wanting to see how Mo Fan would deal with it. In the battlefield, "Brother Mo, why don't you run away?" Yang Qi asked. Yang Qi quite admired Mo Fan. Whether it was Mo Fan who proposed joining forces or Latch flew into the water, he was very smart. Facing the question, Mo Fan laughed. "Brother Lin wants to catch me, can I run away?" Mo Fan replied. He could see clearly that with Lin Tian's strength, if he wanted to take action, neither He Lianfei nor he could escape. Especially in this situation. If Lin Tian didn't take action against He Lianfei, it would be even more impossible for him to escape. He didn't know why Lin Tian let He Lianfei go. But he knew that if Lin Tian let He Lianfei go, he might not let him go. Instead of betting on luck, it would be better to act according to his original plan. Yang Qi nodded and said, "That's true." Mo Fan changed the topic and said seriously, "And there is no need to run away, Brother Lin will let me go." "Oh, why would I let you go?" Lin Tian also became interested after hearing this. In order to successfully cut more leaks later, He Lianfei, as the leader of Longjing, must be let go. But Mo Fan does not have this weight. Mo Fan paused for a moment and muttered, "Because of interests." In this school competition, there are only 3 reasons for eliminating your opponent. The first is to plunder points, the second is to weaken the power of other schools, and the third is personal grudges. As for personal grudges, Brother Lin and Brother Yang are strangers to each other. We have no personal grudges at all. And there are only 7 of us in total now. Even if we are eliminated, it will not weaken Tianyan University much, so the second point cannot be discussed. As for the first plunder points, today is just the first day that the school confrontation officially begins. In less than half a day, we don't have many points at all. Mo Fan just finished speaking. Yang Qi shook his head and retorted, "No matter how few mosquito legs are, they are still meat. If it's for profit, we should eliminate you." Unless, Mo Fan was interrupted mid-sentence. "You can give us more." Lin Tian continued what he said. "Not bad." Mo Fan nodded, with joy in his eyes. Lin Tian saw his plan, and the matter could be discussed. "Now that 7 of us are eliminated, you can only get a few mosquito leg points." Mo Fan continued to explain to Lin Tian and the others, "But if we let us go now, we can continue to gain points. When the school confrontation is over and the points are settled, even if you only get half of our points, you will still have far more points than you do now. At least it's a chicken leg." Hear this. Yang Qi's eyes widened with a look of shock. "You mean you want to work for free for us? Accumulate points for us?" Mo Fan shook his head and said, "It's not like working in vain. You let me go today and I will give you points in the future. This is a deal. And it's a win-win deal. In half a month, even if I only give you 10% of the points, you will get far more than you have now. And even if I give you 90% of the points and only keep 10%, it will be far better than being eliminated now." Yang Qi's shocked eyes gradually calmed down. Mo Fan's explanation is quite reasonable. And it is indeed, as he said, a win-win deal. However, there is one more question. Yang Qi looked at Mo Fan with questioning eyes and continued to ask, "How can we be sure that you will fulfill your promise? What if you just leave like this? By then, with the help of the assembled troops, what should I do if the troops turn their backs and refuse to admit their mistakes?" Mo Fan said casually, "This problem is easy to solve. The worst we can do is keep half of the people as hostages and exchange the points for the hostages in a few days. In this way, even if we leave, you will still get more points than you do now." "That's okay." Yang Qi nodded, and then asked, "But there is still a problem. Even if you are willing to keep your promise, what if you are eliminated by others after you leave? Wouldn't we just draw water from a bamboo basket and get nothing?" Mo Fan shook his head and said, "Nothing in this world can be guaranteed. High returns must come with high risks. It depends on how you choose. I believe Brother Lin will agree." After speaking, Mo Fan waited for Lin Tian's reply. He looked at Lin Tian with extremely confident eyes. He was sure that Lin Tian, as the first in the big exam, could not be a fool and would definitely agree to his proposal. "Not bad, some brains." Lin Tian nodded, agreeing with his plan. Before Mo Fan had time to rejoice, Lin Tian spoke again. "But I not only want the points from the 7 of you, I also want the points from everyone at Tianjin University." The words fell. Mo Fan was stunned, as if he didn't understand. "Brother Lin, please stop joking. It is simply a fantasy to ask everyone in the entire university to contribute points. Even if he is one of the leaders of Tianjin University, others will not listen to him." When Mo Fan saw that Lin Tian did not reply, he realized that he was not joking. Mo Fan looked straight and said seriously, "This is impossible. After all, I am the leader of Tianjin University. If you ask me to lead the entire university to give you points, then who am I? I might as well be eliminated by you now. I'm sorry, Brother Lin. I can't possibly agree to your request." Mo Fan refused Lin Tian's proposal because he was prepared to be eliminated. Lin Tian ranked first in the exam and also passed the trial tower for the legendary first time. He naturally knew in his heart that he could not be Lin Tian's opponent. But even so, he will not surrender. Even if he can't survive even one move, he will still have to fight the trapped beast in the end. After Mo Fan finished speaking, he took out 2 unique golden pistols, which were his weapons as a golden gun shooter. Behind him, 6 students from Tianjin University were also inspired by him and each took out their spears and clubs. However, the picture Mo Fan imagined did not happen. "Have some backbone." Lin Tian laughed. This move left Mo Fan a little confused. After Lin Tian finished laughing, he looked at Mo Fan, with absolute confidence in his eyes. "You'll agree." Lin Tian calmly responded to Mo Fan's rejection just now. After speaking, Lin Tian asked the 4 Longwu University students to leave on their own. Then he got into the armored vehicle without looking back, and left with Yang Qi and Ling Qinggran. This unexpected scene, Mo Fan stayed where he was, and it took him a while to come back to his senses. Just leaving like this, Mo Fan muttered to himself. He looked in the direction Lin Tian left with extremely confused eyes. No matter who it was, no one would be able to agree to Lin Tian's request. Only the stupidest fool would make such an unreasonable request, but Lin Tian was not a fool. On the contrary, he is extremely smart. One glance revealed his plan. But Lin Tian was neither joking nor saying it casually. "Why are you so sure he will agree?" Mo Fan couldn't understand. Lin Tian made a request that he could not agree to, but he was 100 times more confident than when he proposed a win-win deal. Mo Fan thought of Lin Tian's extremely confident look before he left. "I felt uneasy in my heart. Boss Mo, he just left like that. Where are we going now?" The voice of the classmate next to him rang out, making Mo Fan come back to his senses. One way or another, now that Lin Tian has left, they have escaped the danger of being eliminated. Continue to accumulate points and gather other students by the way. In the floating ship, Mo Fan's performance was praised by many big bosses and principals. The president of Tianjin University paid great attention to him. Whether it was Mo Fan taking the initiative to propose a deal, or rejecting Lin Tian's unreasonable request, or even taking out his weapons and preparing for a last-ditch effort, it got full marks in everyone's hearts. You can use your wisdom to propose deals to protect yourself and your classmates. I also have my own principles, and I have kept my bottom line, and I have not betrayed the interests of the school endlessly just to protect myself. Finally, when faced with a powerful enemy that cannot be defeated, you still have the courage to fight. No matter which one, taken alone, it is excellent enough. The fact that they can be combined into one makes everyone full of praise. Even if he is only a B-level professional, everyone is optimistic that he will have a bright future and will definitely become a mainstay. This time the three parties met. Everyone was quite satisfied with He Lianfei's performance. Mo Fan's handling got full marks. But what Lin Tian did was difficult for everyone to understand. Lin Tian himself possesses overwhelming strength. It can be said that as long as he wants to act decisively, He Lianfei will never be able to escape. Eliminating He Lianfei means eliminating one of the strongest competitors. Even if he doesn't need it, it's always good for other Longwu students. And Mo Fan was let go directly by him. Each of these things made everyone puzzled. Of course they didn't know what Lin Tian was thinking. In an armored vehicle, Lin Tian was in a good mood. Because he felt he was lucky today. An accidental three-party meeting allowed him to prepare all the elements needed for the leak-cutting plan on the first day. There is nothing to say about letting He Lianfei go. As the leader of Longjing, He Lianfei cannot be eliminated so early. As for Mo Fan, originally, Lin Tian had no intention of letting Mo Fan go. In other words, no matter how he deals with Mo Fan, it makes no difference to him. But when Mo Fan proposed a deal, Lin Tian immediately decided to let him go. There is no other reason. Because Mo Fan is smart enough and aware of current affairs. And he needs someone who has the brains to understand current affairs. On the day when he harvested leaks, Tianjin University led by Mo Fan was the experimental field for demonstration to everyone. If the first person takes the lead to compromise and provide points, the rest will fall into place. As for Mo Fan's rejection today, it doesn't matter at all. No matter who it is impossible to agree today. The difference between Mo Fan is that he is smart enough and aware of current affairs. Mo Fan didn't agree today because he didn't have to agree and couldn't agree. But after half a month, the situation was different. Everyone will recognize the situation clearly, and harvesting points from him, Lin Tian, is the only option. Mo Fan was the one he chose, the first person to recognize the situation clearly. Until then, Mo Fan will realize why he said, "You will agree," to him. I found Brother Datu. Lin Tian felt relieved. Now he just needs to rush to the center of the battlefield and wait for the opportunity to come. In the floating ship, a group of big bosses and principals were paying close attention to the movements on the battlefield. Although this is just a school confrontation, these students are just young and not without ability or potential. The situation on the battlefield is still changing rapidly. Everyone is showing off their talents. The points for this school confrontation all come from the strange beasts scattered throughout the battlefield. Even if the points plundered from others, apart from the initial meager 100 points per person, the excess points essentially came from alien beasts. But if only because of this. Simply think that the confrontation between schools is just a matter of students from each school killing alien beasts and testing their personal abilities to see who can kill the alien beasts faster. That would be a big mistake. Personal abilities have been tested at the trial tower level. The real test of the school confrontation is besides their overall strength. It's more about testing the organizational skills of students from major universities. On this battlefield, if you want to get more points and kill more beasts, it's not about who is faster. Each of these students who can be admitted to the university is very strong. This is especially true for students from top universities. It is not difficult at all for them to kill the strange beasts. Even if they just assemble a small team, they can leapfrog and sweep away the strange beasts, and it will not be a problem to strengthen the wall and clear the wilderness. I want to decide the winner based on the speed of killing strange beasts. That's no different than relying on luck. The key factor that really determines victory or defeat is not who kills the alien beast faster, but to see who can occupy a larger territory. As long as one school gathers together to occupy a territory, then no one else can get involved in this place. No matter how strong he is, it is impossible for one person to challenge so many opponents. It can only be a confrontation between schools. In this situation, as long as one institution successfully occupies a territory, you can quickly clean up the area and accumulate a huge amount of points. As for others, no matter how fast you kill the alien beasts, they can only watch. A few days passed quickly. Lin Tian and the other three had already driven to the settlement point located in the center of the battlefield. The settlement point is hidden in a mountain range. But it's not on a mountain, but surrounded by mountains. This is a ring-shaped mountain range, connected end to end to form a copper wall. The settlement point is surrounded by this iron wall. In the middle, surrounded by mountains, is a flat land with a large internal space. But the road leading to it is because the mountains are too closely connected from end to end, forming an extremely long and narrow valley. The interior can only be reached through the valley. Lin Tian and the other three were stationed on the large flat ground inside. In these few days, due to the absence of three people, Longwu's students were leaderless. However, they did not sit still and still gathered most of the students. That's why, through the 4 people rescued by Lin Tian, Longwu's students learned about the existence of the 3 leaders Lin Tian, Ling Qinggran, and Yang Qi. They quickly sent people to find it. Because the 4 people described what happened, Longwu's students also vaguely guessed that Lin Tian had other plans. Therefore, Lin Tian and the others were not allowed to lead them. Instead, he asked the formation master to build a formation capable of long-distance communication. This allows Lin Tian to control their actions remotely. Lin Tian had no interest in this. Even if the 2,000 people of Longwu unite as one, the points they can obtain are still too few. For Lin Tian's goal of leading Longwu to win first place, this point can only be regarded as 3 melons and 2 dates, and it has little impact whether it is there or not. However, Longwu is not short of people to command. Yang Qi was extremely enthusiastic about commanding Longwu's 2,000 men to fight. In the past few days, he has been using the communication array to remotely control everyone in Longwu. He has barely slept a wink for several days and nights. Yang Qi's results are also good. On the school ranking list, Longwu has risen all the way to 9th place from the dozen when Yang Qigong took over. This is pretty good. The ones higher up are all from the top universities in the Dragon Kingdom. Longwu's numerical disadvantage is too great. It is simply unrealistic to rely on 2,000 people to compete with schools of the same level. He has been staying here for the past few days. Originally, he thought about using the strange beasts near this mountain range to level up. But the levels of the alien beasts in this battlefield are too low. Generally between level 15 and 20. For Lin Tian, the experience he could provide was too little, and it was a waste of time to brush up. In the floating ship, a group of bosses and principals are paying close attention to the changes on the battlefield. They haven't slept for several days and nights, but they are all high-level professionals, so not sleeping for a few days will have no impact. Lin Tian's actions in the past few days have also caught their attention. I think this Lin Tian has no plan at all. He just saw that Longwu's numerical disadvantage is too great and there is no chance to compete with other top universities, so he simply gave up and stayed here at the settlement point, waiting for the day of settlement. Other students send me the points. I don't know who said it. This is basically what everyone thinks. After all, since Lin Tian arrived in the valley, I haven't done anything in the past few days, just waiting here. Although he can't change anything about Longwu's current situation, he is also an SSS-level professional after all. Old Lu Jiao has met him. He is considered the appointed leader of Longwu students, but he does nothing, even remote control. That Yang Qi did it for him, and his performance was really unbearable. Lu Jiaoshang in the crowd didn't react when he heard this. He didn't think Lin Tianjun was really such a person. After all, Lin Tian ranked first in the big test, and was the first person to clear the trial tower. No matter how you think about it, you can't be a person who doesn't work hard. Now that he is doing nothing, Lu Jiaoshang knows that Lin Tian must have other plans. However, he couldn't figure out what Lin Tian was going to do. Everyone's attention did not stay on Lin Tian, who was lying flat for too long. Soon, they continued to look at the conditions of others. In the battlefield, most of the people at Tianjin University, where Mo Fan is located, have gathered. In addition to him, Tianjin University has 3 other leaders co-commanding with him. One of them is an SS-level professional, and the other 2 are S-level professionals. He is the only one among the Tianjin student leaders who does not hold an S-level or higher profession. But the bloody incident of looking down on him because of his professional superiority did not happen. Mo Fan is the only think tank in the team, and the other 3 student leaders also choose to follow his command. Since the first day, Mo Fan has been feeling uneasy in his heart. The reason is naturally what Lin Tian said. It sounds like a fantasy that a single institution of higher learning would become an institution and offer points. But Lin Tian was too sure and confident in what he said. He said it as if it was a foregone conclusion. And he didn't think Lin Tian was a fool who could only exaggerate. In the past few days, he has sent people out to inquire about information. Lin Tian and the other 3 were stationed at the settlement point, looking like they were waiting to collect tolls. So he had to worry. In addition to inquiring about Lin Tian, he also sent people to inquire about He Lianfei. Mo Fan was thinking about it. Then someone rushed into the tent that served as the temporary headquarters. It was the person he sent out to find out about He Lianfei. What's going on with He Lianfei? Is there any news? Mo Fan asked hurriedly. The man hurriedly took a swig of water, and then panted, I was caught by them. But they didn't give me a hard time. He Lianfei asked me to come back with a message. He said he hopes you, Boss Mo, can go and meet with him in the next 2 days. Okay, go ahead. Mo Fan's heart sank when he heard this. He Lianfei wanted to see him. He obviously knew about Lin Tian's request that day, and perhaps had the same premonition as him. The other side, Longjing University has gathered most of the students. He Lianfei and Lu Zongji have also gathered. Lu Zongji frowned, and He Lianfei told him about his experience that day and his thoughts. This is impossible. I admit that he is stronger than us, but that strength is limited. No matter how strong he is alone, how many people can he deal with? How can he force so many schools to hand over points to him? Lu Zongji retorted. He Lianfei couldn't explain this either. He knew what Lu Zongji said was right. No matter how strong Lin Tian is, he can't deal with so many people. But this is only explained from a factual perspective. But he couldn't explain why Lin Tian did this. Unless Lin Tian is crazy, there must be a reason for him to do this. He was able to escape that day. Thinking about it afterwards, it was obviously Lin Tian's intention. Coupled with the information he had gathered in the past few days, as well as Lin Tian's abnormal behavior. All pointed to his conjecture. Lin Tian wants to plunder points from other schools on a large scale. The next day, in the floating ship, the bosses and principals who monitor every move of hundreds of thousands of students on the battlefield are increasingly confused about the current situation. Each of them has experienced at least a dozen school confrontations. But schools like this one are fighting against situations like this. They have never seen it before. In the screen. Invited by He Lianfei, Mo Fan had already arrived at the agreed place to meet. This place belongs to the middle zone of several academic institutions and is not yet under the control of any academic institution. This strange scene. The big bosses and principals present looked confused. Leaders from different schools met during the confrontation. This has never happened before. In past school confrontations, as long as the day of settlement has not yet come, leaders from different schools would immediately take action as soon as they met, hoping to strangle each other in the cradle and reduce the number of opponents on their own school's side. Or he knew that he was not as strong as his opponent and chose to turn around and run away immediately. Sit down and discuss peacefully like this. Everyone has never heard of it. What surprised them even more was that this meeting was not just between He Lianfei and Mo Fan. He Lianfei also invited leaders from all top universities, including Zhang Feng and Kai Yunzu. Lin Tian, except Long Wu, was not present. A total of 8 top universities' leaders were all present. This meeting, He Lianfei did not set up any conspiracy, and he did not want to eliminate these opponents at once. Even he and Lu Zongji came alone, without anyone from Longjing University. At this time, if someone wants to take action against the two of them, at least one of them will be eliminated here. Obviously, he sincerely invited everyone to talk. As for the purpose of inviting everyone to talk, all the bosses and principals knew this. Just for one person. Lin Tian. However, this reason seems a bit too ridiculous to them. For one person, he summoned leaders from 8 top universities together with him. There is absolutely no need to take such a big risk. No matter how strong Lin Tian is, only one person can't change the general situation. Even if Longwu's 2,000 people are included, Longwu's overall strength is still at the bottom among top universities. He Lianfei's current actions are undoubtedly making a fuss out of a molehill. It even lowered his evaluation in everyone's mind. It's not just the big bosses and principals who think so. In the battlefield, the leaders of the other 7 top universities gathered here also felt that He Lianfei was simply unreasonable. You said Lin Tian wants to plunder the points of all our schools on a large scale. Ha ha ha. Someone asked, then laughed. Obviously he didn't believe He Lianfei's statement at all. The reactions of others were similar. Although not so direct, the suspicion was written on their faces. After the man finished laughing, he continued, I saw that you were so sincere in inviting us, so I thought it was a big deal. Are you asking so many of us to come here just to make a joke? Everyone also looked at He Lianfei questioningly. Except for Mo Fan, another witness of the incident. Before He Lianfei could speak, Mo Fan defended him and said, I know this kind of thing sounds incredible. Although I'm not sure, He Lianfei and I have the same view. This thing may really happen. The possibility is very high. Mo Fan's words were obviously not enough to convince everyone. Unless there is a problem with intelligence. Otherwise, who would be so arrogant as to think that he could force all schools to submit to him? 10,000 steps back. Even if what you said is true, Lin Tianjun really wants to do this. Zhang Feng said for everyone. But Longwu's strength is here. There are only 2,000 people in total. Even if Lin Tian is included, no matter how strong he is alone, can he still be able to defeat a school? If he really does that, it's nothing more than a mantis arm acting like a cart, and a cricket flying like a tree shaking a tree. Is it necessary to summon so many of us to seek death? After Zhang Feng finished speaking, he looked at the two people. Actually, when He Lianfei said this, he really doubted that it was true. After all, he had met He Lianfei and Lin Tian. No matter which one of these two people they are, Zhang Feng doesn't think they are stupid. The fact that He Lianfei dared to summon so many people showed that he was very convinced that this matter was true. And if the facts are as He Lianfei guessed, Lin Tianjun really wanted to do this. Obviously it can't be just because of arrogance, he must be confident. So he also believed it. These words were spoken for everyone, as well as for He Lianfei and Mo Fan. So that they can explain clearly and convince everyone. After hearing Zhang Feng's words, everyone nodded silently. That's why they don't believe it. Mo Fan spoke again. It's normal for you not to believe it. After all, it is impossible for one person to make all the schools bow their heads and surrender with his own strength. Mo Fan first confirmed everyone's thoughts. Then he changed the topic and suddenly asked, Zhang Feng, Kai Yunzu, He Lianfei, Lu Zhanji, how many floors has your trial tower reached? This issue, without them having to say it, is clear to everyone. After all, they are all at the top of the rankings, so it's hard to miss them. But the 4 of them still answered truthfully. The 81st floor, Zhang Feng said. Level 80. Lu Zhanji and He Lianfei both achieved this level. Kai Yunzu hesitated for a moment and said, the 71st floor. After receiving the answer, Mo Fan continued, the 4 of them are all SSS-level professions. They have only appeared once in the previous major exams. It can be said that each of them is a genius among geniuses and an evildoer among evildoers. And 4 such talented people gathered together for a major exam. Number 1 is not any of them. Mo Fan paused and looked around at the people around him. Everyone is silent. They have seen the strength of these 4 people to some extent in school confrontations. It can only be described as terrifying. Even for leaders from top universities like them, it is extremely difficult to resist. And none of these 4 people can compare to Lin Tian in the trial tower. Think of this. Lin Tian's image gradually became unpredictable in everyone's minds. See everyone's reaction. Mo Fan continued. Kai Yunzu is auxiliary profession, let's not talk about it for now. The other three are all SSS level main combat professions. Zhang Feng is on the 81st floor, Lu Zhongji and He Lianfei are on the 80th floor, and the record before them was also set by an SSS level professional, which was only on the 79th floor. The three of us in this class have crossed the 80th floor. It can be said that they are much better than that senior. The three of them are enough to represent the true strength of SSS level professionals. But even the three of them have only just crossed the 80th floor. Mo Fan's tone gradually became more passionate, as if he was questioning everyone. You don't want to believe that what He Lianfei said will really happen. Then I have to ask you. If I were to tell you before the trial tower starts, today there is a person who can beat 3 SSS level professionals by a full 20 levels in the trial tower. You can even clear the trial tower. Speaking of which, Mo Fan looked around, looked into everyone's eyes, and spoke word by word. Would you believe it? Mo Fan's words were like thunder, exploding in everyone's minds. Everyone was silent, but a fierce struggle began in their hearts. It was impossible for them to believe He Lianfei's conjecture. But after Mo Fan asked. But they believed everything. Just like Mo Fan said. If it didn't really happen, who would believe that someone could escape 3 SSS level professionals for 20 floors in the trial tower? Who would believe that the trial tower was actually cleared for the first time? No one will believe it. But now the facts are before our eyes. No wonder they don't believe it. Lin Tianjun is really far more powerful than 3 SSS level professionals. He really became the first person in history to clear the trial tower. Everyone present can become leaders of major top universities. Each of them has extraordinary strength, and to the outside world they are considered super geniuses. They know very well how difficult the trial tower is, and they also know what it means to pass the trial tower. Mo Fan continued to add fuel to the fire and said, You think it is impossible for one person to suppress all the schools. But what could be more incredible than the existence of a monster like Lin Tian? That's it for now. Even if everyone still didn't believe it, they couldn't help but think about what to do. After all, don't be afraid of 10,000 in anything, just be afraid of the unexpected. What's more, Lin Tian has already accomplished something that is impossible in their opinion. If Lin Tianjun really wants to do this, he can really do it. So what should I do now? On the floating ship, Mo Fan's speech ability was once again recognized by the big bosses and principals. At the same time, his words also made everyone shaken. Is it possible that Lin Tianjun has this plan? This is a common question in everyone's mind. What on earth will Lin Tian do? Lao Lu, you are the principal of this kid, do you know that? Anyway, now that the school confrontation has begun, it will have no impact if you say it. Facing the inquiry, Lu Jiaoshang shook his head. I don't know, I can't see through this guy either. Lu Jiaoshang looked at the surveillance screen of Lin Tian and began to think in his heart. What Lin Tian did was too abnormal. He couldn't see through it at all. Keep watching, you will see it sooner or later. Everyone sighed after not getting an answer. Anyway, this kid will either make big news or make a big joke. In the battlefield, listening to what Mo Fan said, Zhang Feng basically believed it. He looked at the silent people around him and felt that the time was almost up. Then what are your plans? He asked for everyone. After everyone heard this, they all turned to look at Mo Fan and He Lianfei. No matter what Lin Tianwei does or what plans he has, Mo Fan looked at everyone and expressed his thoughts. His current behavior seems to be that he is prepared to wait until the day of settlement and wait for us to deliver it to our door. He wants to wait until the last day, but we won't let him do it. Look for me now. If his plan requires preparation time, then we can catch him off guard in advance. Even if he is ready, we should go there in advance. There are still 10 days until the school confrontation ends. Even if something unexpected happens, we still have time to start over. Anyway, we have to do the opposite. After Mo Fan finished speaking, he looked around at the people around him. I at Longjing University mean the same thing. He Lianfei also looked at the crowd and said to support him. Zhang Feng also spoke at this time. In this case, each of our 8 universities will gather 200 people to form an 8-team university coalition. Set off immediately to attack Lin Tian. The two leaders Shenqing and Longjing have already spoken, and everyone has no reason to refuse. I agree. I agree. The first person agrees and everything else falls into place. After all, there are only 200 students from each school, so if there is a problem, the loss will not be big. Finally, this meeting to defeat Lin Tian came to an end with Mo Fan and He Lianfei's proposal and Zhang Feng's decision. Half a day later, outside the valley in the center of the battlefield, a total of 1,600 university troops led by Zhang Feng and others have gathered here. The place where they were meeting was not too far from the center, and they were traveling at full speed, so they got here in less than half a day. The university coalition did not enter with much fanfare. Instead, it was hidden in the forest outside the valley. We have 4 SSS-level troops here in a coalition force of 1,600 people. Is it necessary to be so cowardly? Lu Zongji looked at Mo Fan and said with some dissatisfaction. No matter how strong Lin Tian is, can he still defeat us head-on? Mo Fan shook his head and said, this is not cowardice, this is caution. Lu Zongji was still a little dissatisfied, but it was hard to say anything else. Mo Fan's strength is among them. Although he is not too strong, the brains he has shown have made him the commander of this coalition. Several people are waiting here. Soon, several people were escorted in front of them. Tell me, who of you is the formation master? Mo Fan asked. These people were all students of Long Wu, and they were captured by his order. Facing several SSS-level professionals and more than 1,000 coalition forces, these people were not afraid and kept their backs straight. Hearing this, one person stood up. Seeing this scene, I didn't wait for them to speak. Mo Fan asked others to escort several other Longwu students back. Only the formation master was left. He said, build a communication array now to trick Yangqi or Ling Qingran out. Mo Fan knew that with his qualifications, his strength was not enough in front of many geniuses. So he had to use his brain on many things. He cannot be completely confident in his strength like Lu Zongji. In his opinion, prudence can bring as much benefit as anything else. Even if there are 4 SSS-level professionals, and a coalition of 1,600 high-quality students from top universities, he still felt it wasn't safe enough. Only then did he think of a way to capture the hostages. Not only did he have to rely on 4 SSS-level professionals and a coalition of 1,600 people to overwhelm Lin Tian in terms of strength. He also wants a hostage who can be used to blackmail Lin Tian so that Lin Tian cannot use his full strength. Only in this way, one goes down and the other goes up. To be foolproof, facing Mo Fan's request, Longwu's formation master didn't even care. Haha, why? Mo Fan continued. Are those a few of your friends just now? Mo Fan didn't wait for him to finish speaking. The master of the Dragon Martial formation interrupted him. You eliminate them, and you eliminate me too. Master Longwu Array looked at Mo Fan with contempt, and then said, you separated me from them, isn't it because you are afraid that they will persuade me not to accept the threat? But I tell you, even if they weren't here, I know what they would say. Do you think all my Longwu students are cowards? Will you betray your companions to protect yourself? What's more, he is the leader of my Longwu students. Don't say you just arrest a few of us. Even if you arrest 20 or 30 more people, I won't agree. If you have the ability, let your formation master decipher my communication formation. Don't expect me to cooperate. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.